Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Netherkast. This is episode 122. I am your host, Razor, and you may notice the distinct lack of wrestling catchphrases. We're just kind of winging it this week.
Because you're a hack.
Yeah, I am a hack. I'm a hack, it's true. It don't matter. None of this matters. Look, the reality of the situation is that I may in fact be out of dudes whose catchphrases I like, and that's why I'm not doing the intro. That's all. I mean,
you know, I didn't know anything about wrestling, so I didn't know that you were stealing those. So.
I said I was stealing them like every week.
I can't believe that went on so long, and you didn't know.
Shut up.
Pretty transparent about it.
Didn't you do the Scott Steiner thing?
You know what? I don't know that I did do Steiner math. Shit.
I was about to say, like, no one can make that up unless you're Steiner. That's just not something you can write.
Do we gotta, do another, take or what?
You know what? Next episode, if there is an episode, if they ever release another character for MK11.
Well, we got the movie. We got the movie to review and shit.
Yeah, no, that is true. That is true. Okay, well, next episode, I'll do Steiner math, and then we'll end on a high note with the wrestling intros.
Next episode, it's Sacrifice.
Fucking weirdos.
Smokeman knows he can't beat me, so he's not even going to try. All right.
I mean, you're trying to do it right now. Like, don't blow it right
yeah,
now.
No. But
so did we have some things to talk about?
We did, but we should just in case anybody doesn't remember, I'm Razor, and with me are Shad, Jango, and Smokeman. Now the episode can actually start.
All right. And I'm not drunk tonight.
Are we those guys?
I don't know.
You fucking better be. Your screen names. I mean, that's identity theft if you're not.
I don't know who you are, you monster.
I mean, I stole the name Jango, so you're really stealing from a thief. That's okay.
That's just a black market, though. That's a viable economy.
Damn, Shad was too. All three of us. Who the fuck is Smokeman? I don't. Okay.
It's generic enough. It's generic enough to not be a stolen.
It's generic. Okay. All right. You get a pass. He
does have a purple cyber ninja avatar. It's a little.
There was some asshole in MKO, and I just stole his name.
Stealing from assholes.
I mean, if you're gonna steal, you should probably do it to someone who deserves it.
Look, 95% of art is plagiarism.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the other 5% is just plagiarism you didn't notice.
Yeah.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Which means they probably should have plagiarized from someone better in the first place.
Yeah, that's generally that's my philosophy. If you're gonna write, if you steal from the best, don't steal from somebody who sucks.
Yeah.
People need to stop making stop copying J.J. Abrams. Everybody does Abrams stuff, and it's bad.
Yeah, if you're gonna steal, if you're gonna do something wrong, do it right.
Well, Razor, J.J. Abrams makes money, and some people like his things.
He do?
Some people do. There are crazy people that like new Star Wars and new Star Wars.
Well, I know the reason that every prestige cable and streaming TV show is the way it is because people liked Lost, but Lost was bad. Fucking stop liking Lost.
Lost at all. I tried to watch it when it was on, and I got about 6 episodes into it, which is 6 weeks? Time was weird back then.
We're
that
5 minutes in, we're already in the sidebar.
Well, look, this is the vibe that I want for this episode. I'm really trying to get across that MK11 is dead and we don't care anymore feel. You know, it's a big mood, and I want it to encompass the room.
of waiting for NetherRealm to, give me something to sing about, really, because right now I don't have anything.
Yeah, right?
In my opinion, like for me, it's like the ball is in their court. It's on you guys.
And so let's talk what we're in theory waiting for. Because we do know Fujin and Shiva are coming.
And I am terrified of doing that. I hope it's true, but it wouldn't be that surprising.
Okay, well, let's talk about evidence, because their website, evidence. The copyright little fine print at the bottom of their page now says that they have a credit for Ash specifically from Army of Darkness, not from Evil Dead. Which is the good Ash? That's the one you want? Those are all the references you want to be able to make? Because
otherwise you're stuck with the TV show that doesn't reference time, the robot hand, the S-Mart shit, Groovy, and all that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
the Stars show wasn't allowed to use the term S-Mart or talk about, anything he did in the Middle Ages.
Man, I dodged a bullet not seeing that thing.
Yeah. I'd like to at least give a shout out to NRS for fucking up that bad. Again.
You mean for not fucking up that bad?
Yeah, because
no. I mean, getting the Army of Darkness license is a good thing. Just putting that just at the end.
Oh, right, before they revealed the character. Yeah.
Well,
this happened already. They put that in the fucking game when they revealed the combat pack trailer.
Yeah, so that's old news anyway. We heard the come on, man. Like we know what's going on.
He's coming. Have fun with him.
It's a good thing that he's still, because there's a big debate on whether.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Even with the credit there, I'm still like, maybe they didn't get Bruce Campbell though.
Yeah, you should be that way.
They did. I think I heard something where they did. He did come in for a face scan. He's just. I think.
Look, they brought Arnold in for a face scan and then didn't have him record lines. They got somebody else to do the voice.
Yeah, what, Smokeman? What?
Arnold is a Republican who doesn't like violent video games.
It probably costs $10 billion bison dollars to have him say 3 words.
That is also true. But
history has shown me that game companies like to skimp on paying money for good voice acting whenever they can.
Yeah, but Bruce is also like the guy who's like, they need me. I'll ask for more money, suckers.
See, for everyone that just is about to bring up the fact that he said that that it's not happening, that he's not going to be.
He's damage control, hardcore.
This is also called a lie. Remember, Kerry Tagawa did the same thing too.
I mean, Bruce is the kind of guy who will lie about something for fun. Like, he's got that kind of irreverence.
He had some guy make an image of putting him into the fucking living forest. Like, come on. He didn't do that himself.
He likes to fuck with people. And I think it was inevitable that he was in the game and that he was talking shit. But I also like to leave the margin for don't let yourself be disappointed,
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Yeah. That's the only way to do it. But I mean, I'm not worried about Ash. Like, I wasn't talking about that stuff. I was talking about going in like Fujin's definitely coming. Like, he's hella fucking coming after all this shit. I don't tell me about the script, motherfucker. I know about those leaks too. Whatever.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that it's. I think the Fujin hype has passed. Like, it's been too long.
Well, yeah,
like,
so we've talked about this before, that every time they do DLC, they're one game late. They're also always one game late with, like, the quote-unquote cool characters in the Injustice games. Like, people wanted Lobo for MK vs. DC, and by the time we got Lobo in Injustice 1, we didn't care about Lobo anymore. Same with Doomsday. And there's a couple characters in 2 who people wanted for 1, and when we got him in 2, it's like, I'm over it. I wanted him back then, and I didn't get him. You waited too long.
Starfire. Well, I was excited for Manta, but still.
And now we all want Shazam because he had an okay movie. It's let me fuck people up.
I don't care about
fuck you,
Shazam.
buddy. Shazam was tight.
I don't care about Captain Marvel.
Oh my god, Well, she's but Shazam.
No, Billy's
Funny
Captain
thing-
Marvel. We're not
I
going to
see
do
what
this.
you're doing there. Okay, yeah.
I see
Funny
what
thing
you're
about
doing.
wanting Fujin in a game, it's that we wanted him in X because it was
I
a
know.
retelling of 4. How about that?
Yeah,
I
he
was
was in
fucking
story
so
mode. He
convinced.
was, like, relevant at the time. Like,
Now, I'm
I
not
could
going to
not-
say that I don't want him, but I'll play him when he comes out. It's just that the hype is not there anymore.
yeah, you have to, like, catch
The
these
hype would've been
things
there
when
still.
the zeitgeist is about it, like, crest the top of the
Well,
wave. If you
dude.
show
The
up
hype
late...
was still there, even if he was still in fucking KP1, but they fucked up and put in Sindel instead.
Look, that's not Sindel, and even if it was, that's not necessarily a fuck up. They fucked up by putting Terminator in there.
The moral of the story is, NRS, don't take anything for granted, because maybe it'll happen. It looks good that Fujin will be in there, but dude, it looked way better that he would be in MKX, and I almost lost $20 over it.
Oh yeah, speaking of Terminator, how are we liking him now, huh? Excited? Great? How you enjoying that Terminator 2 outfit? Huh? Was it a good movie? Was it? You like it? No? Wow. I'm surprised. I really am.
Did I fight a Terminator once? Oh yeah, I played D4 a little bit.
I mean, I can't, as a Terminator fan, I can't really give you, like, an assessment of I would have been excited if not for. It's just, MK11 is a boring game to play. So, like, I fucking love this, but I'm probably not going to play Ash because I'm not playing the game,
I mean, I wasn't looking that much forward to Terminator or Ash, to be honest, really. So I kind of forgot about it until you guys brought it up. Spawn's kind of tight, though.
But, like, I don't know.
If you want to play, and that's a big if.
Spawn
Totally
does
blame
seem
me.
like a lot of work was put into him, which I, even not being a Spawn fan, can, like, recognize and appreciate. Like, there are some references that you'd have to know Spawn to get, like, a couple deep cuts. And, like, his intros and outros are really well animated, and it seems like, they really tried with him, and I think you can tell when they do and when they don't, like, especially, like, Jason and MKX is always the first example that comes to mind.
Ant-Man.
God,
Not Ant-Man, fuck the Atom.
I just wish that, that they gave a shit about every
MK
character they
characters
make.
as much as they do about their guest stars. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
I did give Spawn a shot for about 2 days straight. I also tried He Who Shall Not Be Named. Shit, I'm so tired of him because he actually is a lot closer to my playstyle than I thought it would be.
I like He Who Shall Not Be Named because he's goofier. He's not edgy knife man.
Yeah, that's
Who are you
actually,
talking
like,
about?
something I want to say about,
Joker. Oh, I
Joker,
didn't know who you guys
yeah.
were fucking talking about. I was like, who? Okay. I'm
So,
sorry.
so
I
obviously,
appreciate
like,
Harsh shit by Mellow, dude.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
on a personal stance level, I am still, like, angry that they'd put a fucking DC character in this game.
Angry?
And especially that one, because I think Joker's Batman's shittiest villain.
Damn. I give that up to Killer Croc or any of the new ones. No, Batman Who Laughs is the shittiest one. Fuck that.
I wouldn't
Judge
give it
Dredd
to-
character.
I don't consider Batman Who Laughs a real character, though. Like, that's a
Okay,
plot device.
yeah.
That's a fad gimmick. Anything created in the 2010s or now in comics doesn't really count.
Okay.
Remember
You're
all
saying-
those people that Grant Morrison made up? No?
Exactly.
No.
Okay.
Batman Inc. guys, like the ones of every country, right?
Like, literally the only person I remember from the entire room is Flamingo, the Prince Nod.
Oh, yeah, when he was trying to make a rogues gallery for Dick as Batman. Those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, Professor Pig seems to have stuck around.
Mm-hmm.
He
I
wasn't
think
too
he's
bad.
the
Yeah.
You were saying about Joker Razor?
Okay, so even for all the hate I have for the Joker as a character, I actually kind of like that in this game they didn't make some grim, dark, edgelord MK version of Joker. Like, we're not seeing the Kevin Tankerow and Atmosphere Joker, right?
Mm-hmm.
They actually just did default comics Joker. Like, he's silly and he says funny things.
I don't think it does edgelord type shit though, like almost ever. That's not really how they approach stuff.
Have you played the Injustice
I
game?
have played
Injustice Joker
quite a bit.
Injustice
it's
Superman.
Definitely not like
Injustice Joker, New 52 Joker cutting off his own face, dude. He's done tons of edgelord teenagers.
Yeah,
shit.
like I would expect.
I said NetherRealm doesn't really put that stuff in their game. They like the more arcadey and kind of comical stuff.
No,
they
but I mean,
really
like,
go into the Zack Snyder direction with their versions of characters.
Okay, but Injustice 2 had like sexy Joker with the no shirt and the like.
I mean, that wasn't like grimdark edgelord. That was just what the fuck.
It's super edgelord.
That was whack.
It's an adjacent form of cringe.
That
wasn't
weird.
sexy. That wasn't sexy at all.
That wasn't sexy.
It was an attempt at sexing. It was fucking abysmal.
You know what? It was.
It was trying to be trendy. Whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter. The point is, my expectation is that when someone in the modern era of any kind of media adapts the Joker, they're going to try and, like, make him more of a slasher villain. And that's why I fucking hate the Joker. Because the Joker I want to see, the one that the character's core concept is supposed to actually be, is the guy who does things because it makes him laugh. Which is, like the Mark Hamill animated series Joker. That's the Joker I want to see in things. Whereas, like, serial killer wearing his own cut-off face Joker, the one who's... People have been writing for years...
Blades.
Like, the Joker that people have been writing in the comics since at least the New 52... is basically trying to repeat the Killing Joke over and over again. He's no longer doing things for a laugh. He's doing them to prove to Batman that he can make him kill him. And that's not compelling. I don't want that guy.
I don't think that you've got anybody arguing the counter here, sir.
Right, but I'm trying to make the point that I actually want to compliment NRS for the portrayal of Joker in this game that should not have Joker in it.
GG's.
Like, he does the boxing glove shit again, man.
Yeah, it's...
That's sick. Like, and even then, the little bits, like, of him being an MK, the whole friendship fatality thing, like, that was funny.
Yeah, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
And again, it's like, okay, here's a character where they try. I sure wish they would try on everybody.
This seems to be the case with every shitty guest choice, man. Like, those seem to be the best executed ones.
Well, so that sort of brings me to the next topic, is that there's been some data mining since the most recent patch.
Oh, boy.
And one of the things found in the data mining was... as we know, every character in MK11, like, the files refer to them by the first 3 letters of their name in all caps. And, like, that's how we knew, like, when we were talking about the game before release, like, we were talking about how Gearus was in the files as TER because his name was originally going to be Terminus. And stuff like that. If you go back several episodes, you will find us saying these words. So, someone has found files for future DLC that's labeled ROB. And...
Robin?
Right, it could be a lot of things. The leading guess...
It's a Robin!
Robot jocks, baby.
I would like it to be Robo Smoke, but... I'm not going to get what I want.
Oh, you see? I didn't even think about robots, man.
I'll take it. I will take it over RoboCop.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
RoboCop, I'm going to blow my own fucking brains out.
The leading expectation is RoboCop. And
I never would have gotten there.
Here's the thing.
No.
The side of me that remembers the 90s really, really wants RoboCop versus Terminator to be a thing.
Oh, God.
But the adult part of me sees how much effort they put into Terminator, or lack thereof, and expects the same level for RoboCop.
Yep.
So
Robin
that's a
guaranteed?
bummer. That's a bummer in advance.
They're not gonna get Peter Weller, I bet.
You know, he did that KFC commercial.
They
Robert
probably would have
Smith.
paid him more money there.
I'll take Robert Smith. Thank you again, Mr. Self-Destruct. I'll take Robert
I mean,
Smith.
if they put
Get the guy from The Cure in the game. That way they start playing it again.
I mean, if they put in RoboCop, I want like the funny shit from RoboCop 3 with the
Yeah,
jetpack.
like,
and
I want the
fucking
jetpack.
gun hand.
They need to make him more than just slow-walking guy with a gun. That's obvious.
I mean, I'd like some Ed 209 summons. Maybe even some RoboCop 2 summons.
You want to
Like,
see...
what are you
was that
supposed
guy's
to do with RoboCop?
Was the guy in the villain of 2's name Kane?
I forget.
I think
so.
it was Kane.
The
and
big
he, like,
robot guy?
He did a drug called Nuke or something like that. I don't remember RoboCop 2 super well, but I do remember that he ended up being turned into a big mech with like a radiation symbol logo on his chest.
Well, the actual like OCP guys, they actually called him 2.
Right. Well, that actually fits the RoboCop universe because it's all
Exactly.
about capitalism and marketing and how like the OCP company technically owns human beings, and that's like cyberpunk dystopia stuff.
Yeah, it's funny like that. But yeah, man. Like, I'm not feeling RoboCop.
Nobody wants this. Nobody asked for this. So of course it's going to happen.
I wouldn't hate it, is what I'm saying, but look, the pipe dream of the world where there aren't guest characters, and you know this, is not the world we live in.
I don't get it. I really don't. The only reason I can think of if for people giving so much of a shit about having guest characters in an MK game is that they either can't think of MK characters that they prefer, or
well, that's the thing. Like, they really can't. They don't. Most of their characters, the people who work at NRS. I mean, you've got like 3 or 4 department heads who've been there since the old days, but most of them are fucking millennials.
I can't really fault like the animators and shit and all that. Though I assume that there are probably MK fans working there that are as big as fans as we are.
Yeah.
They're just unfortunately not the ones making the fucking decisions.
Yeah, there is that. Like, I'm sure there are several people who are like disappointed they don't get to like do Rain or Lee May or, you know, whatever name you name. But the guys who are making the decisions clearly think everything that's not MK1 through 3 sucks. And also, what sells is to get the casuals, you know, to waggle the nostalgia keys in their face, jangle them, and fucking go, you remember this movie from the 80s, right? And look, look, we talk about this almost every episode, and at the end of the day, my feeling about the DLC matter is that no DLC character really counts as a character. Like, if you're not in story mode, then you're not canon, so I don't care who they put in the DLC. I honestly don't have strong feelings about the DLC, like, since 9. Like, 9's was okay-ish?
I mean,
because it represented untapped potential, I guess, but seeing how that has been realized in X and 11, I no longer give a shit about DLC characters at all. Like, you could give me Serena now, and I'd be like, well, this just means she's not going to be in the next game, and also that, you know, she doesn't have a story.
I suppose I'd care if it was... I wouldn't care if it was any other game, you know? They put Rash and Killer Instinct, but that's a game where you can have, like, a dinosaur skull fucking a cyborg or an alien.
Well...
Anything goes.
I mean, look...
It's tone to me.
Here's the thing about that is that at this point in history, the KI reboot takes its lore way more seriously than NRS ever did in the last 3 MK games.
That is the saddest thing I've ever had to confront.
Yeah, like
as an MK fan.
You know, the KI website has a whole fucking novella of story.
Yeah. I've started playing the game, as we know, in our Discord.
It's great.
Gave my friend $90 for his old Xbox One X, first gen.
And look, I can totally get the attitude of like, haha, this is a game where you can fight a dinosaur. This is just
and they're
fun.
making it work.
Yeah,
it's
like
not that hard.
Cause that's how I feel about what Tekken does wrong. Like, that's a game where you play an intelligent bear. To me, that's all Tekken is. Like, I don't give a shit about the story because I feel like they don't give a shit about the story. But Killer Instinct has, like, things that would seem tonally goofy, but they're kind of not. Like, Riptor is actually taken seriously.
Well, to an extent, you know, like...
Oh, yeah, there's... I mean, there's cutesy Jurassic Park references, but Riptor also has a totally serious bio about how this is a bioengineered weapon that they're selling to, like, third world countries.
That was his trailer.
For war profiteering.
The wonderful thing about it is that, like, they embraced the lunacy and just put his trailer out like a commercial.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. You embrace the inherent insanity and you make it part of your scheme that works.
You know, I'm playing a lot of Doom Eternal. And
Doom is definitely a good example of a universe that is silly, but also kind of takes the silliness seriously in a weird way that makes it...
I was going to go into this because I've been reading listening to a lot of interviews with that game's creative director, Hugo Martin, and how they're taking the lore seriously, of course. Like, if you play this fucking game, they take this shit seriously. But also during development, he's like, make it like a Disney movie, like Apocalypse by Disney. You can like kind of tell with the character designs and just how goofy the gore is, punching their head into their fucking chest. And they were just looking at like He-Man toy packaging for art inspiration and shit like that. And just like he's talking about how he's like making excuse to his wife to go into the to the fucking studio on Saturdays just to play the game. He's just so excited about that shit.
Sweet.
And I listen to that shit and I'm like, Ed needs to go.
Yeah, like
Ed needs to fucking go. We need someone like Hugo Martin at the helm of MK or some shit.
We need people who are excited about the series to be developing it.
Yeah, you can
someone
tell
who's not
when
gonna go,
you can
someone who's
feel
not
it.
gonna go like, oh fuck, what do we do now? What do we do this time? Something we haven't done yet. Like someone that's not fucking tired.
I don't even blame Ed.
I do blame Ed.
I just think he's like, yeah, whatever, do it.
Yeah, like you can tell passion. You can feel the difference. You can tell when someone is like doing something as a labor of love versus when they're doing it because it's their career and they're making their paycheck.
3 hours into Killer Instinct, I can already feel like this. Half an hour into Doom, and I feel like this is a labor of love. I turn on MK11 and I get this is an effort to sell shit. This is an effort to get me to go to the store. It's an effort
gray paste churned out on an assembly line.
Yes, it is. And I don't want another fighting game. Not for MK. I'm done. I'll give Fujin and Shiva a shot when they're out, but no. I think I'm finished.
And like for the people in our audience who are like able to get excite, and who feel like we're always too negative and they don't really get it. I don't know that I can articulate, like, age and experience to someone who is just, like, still in their 20s.
I would like to point out that I am not
man, I'm in my fucking 20s and I feel this shit.
Well, yeah, but you're also... You're one of us. You're a pessimist.
Yeah.
I wasn't a pessimist until 9. I can forgive almost anything. I'm still going to be an MK fan after this is... After, like, 11th life cycle.
It's the thing about experience is that everybody's life experience is different. So there are you can be like 19 years old and be world weary and expect the worst because you've been disappointed many times before, and that's what you've been built up to expect. And then you can be 35 and happy-go-lucky because things go right in your life. There's two different people with two different, like, lives lived. And like, I can't, like, someone who hasn't been disappointed, I can't explain to them the experience of being repeatedly disappointed until you build up the wall. I can only tell you that it has happened to me.
Out of these last 3 games, I think I've thoroughly enjoyed X more than anything else, and
yeah,
its fair share of problems.
The more time goes on, the more, like, I look back on X as being not that bad.
I never thought it was terrible.
Like it's when Scorpion's Revenge was the trailer came out. I was like, these costumes actually kind of work.
Not for me, but I'll take them over a lot of what we got now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
speaking of good things, like Scorpion's Revenge.
Yeah, let's talk about that now.
Yeah.
Did we even talk a lot about Spawn? I don't think we did. Do you have anything else to say?
I can say that Keith David is fun. I can say that I like his intro animations. Like, I especially love the one where the cape is just kind of flowing on the floor like water. That's always, like, my favorite sort of, like, image of Spawn.
Yeah, they put so much work into animating the cape. And then I look at, like, they have a game full of superheroes who wear capes, and it's like, so you can do it. It's just the more capes there are, the less you want to do it.
And, I like his... It's cool.
His what?
He plays all right to me.
I can't really articulate it. He came out the same time as Doom did. I'm like, what am I going to play,
Yeah.
But I like
I had to get MK11 back from my friend that I'd lent it to, just to, like, squeeze out the day and a half I spent with Spawn. And he's all right. He's a bit slow for me. He plays fun, I guess, but I had other things to do.
I like how I like how all of his costumes are from the comics. He's got, like, his kind of modern look as the default.
Yeah, I really...
He's got the commando one with the cape as the scarf over his mouth. And the one that they made, like, specifically for MK11 doesn't look bad to me.
Yeah, it's just kind of Noob Saibot with red on it, but it's fine.
Yeah, it looks fine. Like, it's not bad. It doesn't piss me off like Injustice games.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I really, really like the, like, classic Spawn outfit, like the spandex one. And it just keeps reminding me, like, why can't they do this for their own characters, man?
I mean, I do have to complain because they make the classic gear, like, bullshit to get. Can I talk about how I fucking hate how they make, like, the progression system for DLC characters?
Yeah.
Is this thing on? Is my mic working now?
Yes, your mic is.
You're good. You're fine.
Okay. Oh, good.
Anyways, the way that you unlock shit for the base characters is way fucking different than when you unlock shit for the fucking DLC characters. Like, a lot of, like, skins and shit, and a lot of, like, say, brutalities. Yeah, that's what it was. A lot of brutalities are not unlocked through those towers. You often have to wait for towers to pop up, and they don't, because these fucking idiots at NetherRealm cannot coordinate and make those towers come up the week that he fucking comes out. So you can get all the fucking brutalities that you can possibly get with the character. It's fucking bullshit.
I have experienced that for some of the DLC characters, but I actually got most of Spawn's stuff right away. Like, maybe I just got lucky, but I happened to already, like, it was not difficult, I feel, to acquire the boot that's just 3 straps around his leg and not the giant drums.
How did you get that? Was it just through a fucking tower?
I think it was just through, like, a tower that gives gear.
Oh.
Like, it's beat this tower and you get gear for the character you're playing.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, that's just kind of my gripe with just how you unlock shit for the DLC characters. Because the dumb thing is that, like, you unlock their fatality in the first stage. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that is super weird. I don't know why they do that.
That could have gone to, like, a different fucking thing, man.
I don't understand why you would make a fatality, like, unlockable in a tower at all, because the only thing you need to do to unlock a fatality is to let the CPU play the character, and they'll just do it, and then it'll be in your moves list, because the game knows that you have done that fatality, even though it was the computer playing.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, that's not a secret. Most people, I would imagine, are letting the CPU play for them when they do a lot of towers.
Yeah, shit's just not fun.
It's just like Injustice 2.
What does it say when from the start they included an ability to have your PC play for you, to have the computer play for you, because they knew you'd get sick of running towers? They don't care who does it. You are the computer.
We're in an era where a lot of games are, like, coming up with artificial ways to keep you playing the game. Like, false replay value. Like, gimmicks that drag it out. Grinding.
I think the term they use is player retention.
Yeah,
and they really like that shit.
Okay,
and it's
so
it's not like actual retention. It's like just how can you trick them into staying? We don't care what they're doing when they stay. Just whatever you gotta do, get them to stay here playing.
Yeah, here's what I don't get about it. What does the company that released the game get from player retention? They already have your money from buying the game. They don't make more money the longer you play it.
Because the chuckle fucks in the high-up stations think that just because you're still playing one game, you're physically incapable of leaving your house or digitally ordering another one. That's the whole point. They actually believe that if you're playing one game, you won't buy another one. That's the mentality. That is how stupid these people are.
I mean, well, they can watch them not retain me because they haven't.
Yeah.
I see when I see these tactics, I get bored with the game, which encourages me to go buy a different game.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and that stuff really feels like it's spread into all the different aspects of something like a Mortal Kombat 11. There's something to that feeling of like this is weird. This isn't fun. It's an activity. You can certainly call this a video activity. But maybe a video game is a little, I don't know, maybe. And I mean, honestly, like, there's no shortage of negativity to throw at Mortal Kombat 11. But honestly, the only real actual problem I have with Mortal Kombat 11 is that it's not fun.
Yeah.
And if it's not fun, then
it's not engaging. It's just
yeah. I mean, I can't do anything. Like, you know, they like as far as like story, lore, and all these other weird, fucking tires of what do they call it? The tires of time.
The tires of time.
The tires of time.
That's like
That
an
grind.
ultimate.
Yeah, dude, those fucking tires are smooth.
Doing donuts,
Another
grinding
fucking
out your
alternate
tires.
title
Boy.
for Back to the Future right there. Tires of the time.
None of that shit's fun. There's nothing fun about that stuff. But for me, it's always like a game-to-game situation.
It
where,
just
like,
it
listen,
feels like a mobile phone game, you know?
it
That's
does,
exactly
yeah.
what it fucking is.
There's a lot of that
They're
in
taking
there.
that literal business model and putting it in like AAA games. Overwatch, Fortnite,
Like,
It is.
PUBG,
That's exactly what it is.
I want to clarify that I don't think the fighting itself is entirely boring. It would be a little bit better if I didn't have to sit through the same crushing blows for every
The fatal
match.
blows, boy, yeah.
Fatal
all day.
blows.
Yeah, the fatal
are,
blows.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
hate.
I get it. You can animate fun ways to hurt someone. Stop jerking yourselves off.
I wish we could go back in time and, like, whenever somebody would go, X-rays are done poorly because you don't always have to use them. Most people don't use them at all. I want to go back and choke these people while screaming, but that's a good thing. That's the better way.
I mean, ideally, there would be a middle ground to where, like, you go from it, like, it's not worth spending to, like, there's no cost to spend it whatsoever. Just fucking do it. Just throw it out. You might as well, because you're not using up any other
that's where we
resources
are
to do
now.
it.
When there's no cost
I
in
know,
doing
yeah.
it, you will do it every match. And that's the problem. That's why I don't like Fatal Blows. They happen every match, and I'm sick
They
of
do.
watching
It's-
them.
I
It's
like
ridiculous.
I think the aesthetics of them look better than X, but the mechanics are fucking abysmal.
It would be different if...
I remember when this shit was
problem is
revealed.
time.
When this shit was revealed, I fucking knew that fighting the AI was going to be bullshit, because if it's dependent on the life, then the AI will always use it, and that will be fucking boring and not fun.
Everybody uses it.
and
Like,
make me
you
hate
might
that
as
shit.
well. It would be different if they weren't so
AI
good.
is what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
it would be...
AI is written to do that shit every fucking time, and it's written to break away every fucking time.
You know, I wish Mortal Kombat didn't have super moves. That's what I wish.
It would
Like,
be a
the
lot
appeal of
different if they
X-rays
were
was the
really
graphical
saying-
effect, and now you can do the graphical effect on a regular punch.
It would be different if they, it would be different if they just weren't so advantageous to use on a startup. Like, if they were more punishable, if they weren't so, like, super fast startup.
I wish...
Hitboxes weren't so good.
I
If they didn't have,
honestly,
like,
the
armor
whole
that-
thing for me is I wish I could go one match without seeing one.
It's a question of time to me.
It
I
is.
don't
They
mind
take
if I-
too long. They're canned animations that go on for fucking ever.
Like,
How about-
I didn't have this problem with the X-rays in 9. There was this steady incline from 9 to 11 where they got subtly longer.
Yeah,
and
yeah, they are
longer
long. Like,
and longer.
some X-rays
Like-
in 9 are 2 hits, not 3.
Like, seriously, with Smoke, just teleport punch to the back, suplex, kick to the face. That's it.
Yeah, there-
Now we're at a point where you're playing yo-yo with the person.
Yeah, like it's a whole
fucking-
combo, and it's like 6 or 7 punches, and then a money shot punch, and then a couple more punches, and then a money shot punch. It's like there are 3 money shots with little hits in between instead of just 3 hits.
It wouldn't be so bad though. If they weren't so advantageous on startup, you wouldn't see them as often because they would be punishable. They would be like, you could be like, oh, this dude is a scrub. Look at him. He's about to hit the button. Boom, eat shit, bitch. Like, if you puzzle that shit, no, you can't fucking punish that shit. It's super, super, super fucking good. Which is, you shouldn't have both of those things. They shouldn't be really easy to do and really effective. That's not a good design choice there.
Well,
And they shouldn't be fucking
another
tied to
thing,
health.
even if you kept them in and you made them more punishable, I would still make it that if you hit it and it's blocked, you don't get it back.
Oh yeah, definitely. That needs to happen too.
What I would prefer is, how about you make them like every other fighting game and make them hard to do?
There is that too. It's.
I mean, like, yeah, these are
a 2-button alt, like, guarantee a recharge, like, play for instant recovery that you're going to see every single match because it's tied to health.
these are all reasons why there's no consequence of
Even if
using
you
it.
made
Why it's a problem.
even if you made the input harder, the AI would still do them every match. So you'd still be seeing them all the goddamn time. You know what? That's another... If you're going to have supers, and you're going to have this system where you can, like, equip moves, make more than one super, and then the player gets to equip which one they want, and then you're not always seeing the same one at least. You know, like V-triggers.
You know what is actually makes me excited?
What's that?
Scorpion's Revenge.
Yes.
Yeah. We were going to talk about that, and then you're like, what about Spawn, though? See what happened?
No,
Let's talk about Scorpion's Revenge.
That's me. That's on me. Because, let's be fair, he did come out, and people wanted to know our thoughts on him. So
okay, our thoughts on Spawn is that it seems like they put a lot of work into him, and that's really, like, we appreciate that, even though I don't think any of us are really fans of Spawn. So if you're like a Spawn fan and you collected the comics and you really like that franchise, I apologize that we can't provide more content for you, because none of us are really Spawn fans. But,
I mean, they look like
they did a good job with him, it seems.
Yeah,
I'll give it this.
Yeah, I also really like Keith David. I think he's an amazing voice actor.
Yeah.
And just having him in this game elevates it a little bit.
Skull fucker.
He's essentially Kevin Conroy for Spawn.
Like, I wish Keith David had a character who's an MK character to voice so that he could be in every game.
Oh, Naga.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, Onaga's not going to be in every game. I wish he was like a regular character.
I like that.
Kintaro would be sick.
Kitaro's a good call.
Can do that too, yeah. Which I want... David, that's what I'm saying.
I'll give it this. It did get me to go back and, like, reread about the first 30 issues of Spawn. Because I used to have them when I was a kid in the 90s. Like, someone gave them. I didn't actually pay money for them. And it wasn't as terrible edgelord material as I thought it was. There was some good stuff in there.
You know what would have been kind of funny? If Spawn had an extra meter. If they had the 9999 meter in the game, like, you can't actually run out, it's just for graphical interest. Like, it's just an Easter egg thing. But if it was there, that would be kind of funny.
Alright, so, also the game didn't make Evo. Lol.
Is there an Evo this year?
Yeah, nobody might make Evo. We'll have to wait and see.
I think Evo might be canceled.
It might be. We'll have to, jury's out.
Which, speaking of things being canceled due to coronavirus, I really wonder if we were supposed to get reveals at Final Combat, and they just went, no, let's hold off so that we have a better time to show this trailer.
I mean,
like
Ed just basically confirmed the fucking shit, saying we're getting more things.
You will get more things.
Whatever.
That's great. Fix the game.
It certainly feels like
animated movie, man. Fuck
things
this.
are cool.
It feels like that when we're getting more things is delayed, though, which is understandable since most of the world is currently stuck at home, unable to go to work.
It is, and I wasn't like holding my breath out for fucking more DLC anyway. With how long it took the first Combat Pack, I was like, cool. We'll see you guys next year, I guess.
Yeah, and
I don't
look.
know.
Obviously, there is a certain amount of programming and artwork. It's making video games is done on a computer, and computers can exist in a person's home.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
It's still gonna slow the process down because, like, when you actually go to work and all the computers are networked together, and you can, talk in person to the other people in your department. That kind of streamlines the creative process.
It does,
and we currently do not have that.
VPN.
Indie devs are they're mostly cool and shit right now because they do their shit oftentimes like over Skype and whatnot or whatever. There's a lot of dev studios that do that kind of thing. NRS has like an office. They have a building and they go there and touch each other, and it's a problem.
It is a problem when NRS touches each other.
Yeah, it is. It takes more than one person to run a mocap rig, sir.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
It takes two to animate an overly elaborate crushing blow sequence.
I mean, this is NRS, so it takes one person to run a camera and one person to be Carlos Pacina. That's really all they need.
Anyway, we got it, Carlos. I think we're good.
They're probably doing a lot of like VPN work right now from home. My company is. I know a lot of places are. So
my company is.
It is. I'm still working from home.
Right.
I am too. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of coronavirus bummers, I was looking forward to that Ghostbusters movie, and it's been delayed almost an entire year because no theaters.
You kind of need them.
I imagine that Hollywood right now is just a series of like rabid producers on the street eating each other.
Like so many companies are like, shit, release it streaming. Let's make some money.
Yeah. So a lot of people have been talking about that, and like that Black Widow movie. I'm like, they're probably not going to put that out of VOD. Yeah. The movie's expensive. It's got to make $1 billion and shit. Come on.
Speaking of movies to be released soon.
Scorpion's Revenge.
Finally, let's talk about it.
Yes, we're
the one Mortal Kombat branded thing any of us are looking forward to.
I'm only kind of,
cartoons aren't your jam. That's cool.
So it's cool. I'm glad you guys are happy and excited though.
Look, I will take the MK1 storyline without time travel in any medium you want to give it to me.
I wouldn't begrudge you.
Even if I didn't like cartoons, I'd be excited for this.
Live the dream. It looks so. I mean, I don't know. It looks.
There is one small point I learned today that has me a little concerned, and it's that the running time is only 80 minutes.
That's fair.
I mean, the live-action movie was 90, and I feel like it didn't have enough content.
You can still do a lot. I'm not going to be too concerned. I don't think we're going to get everyone's backstory. Kano's probably going to be a little bit of a mook, and we'll get what he's got going on with Sonya. You're not going to get like extra deep lore. They could probably save like all the katana stuff.
Well, I mean, so here's like, if I was like bound by time constraints and I was doing MK1, I would start the movie on the boat. Which is that's the journey begins, how they did it. But we've already seen from the trailer that we're at least getting like Sonya chasing criminals in Hong Kong, and we are obviously getting the entire slaughter of the Shirai Ryu.
This is like a weird thing for me because like, in the original timeline, did the actual Link clear them? I don't think they did.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't even think that in the they
it was always Quan Chi by himself, and he showed Scorpion a fake version where the Lin Kuei were there.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know
it's always been kind of ambiguous, but
it's not. Let's not assume that what we're seeing is necessarily true. Like, Scorpion could have been fooled by illusions again. You know what I mean?
Which I feel is strange, because why is Quan Chi doing Shang things? Like, why is he disguising himself as Sub? That's a Shang Tsung thing.
Well, you know what? Creating an illusion is not necessarily the same thing as shapeshifting. Like, Quan did shapeshift in Legacy, which is obviously what we're comparing this scene to, because it's the same Scorpion was there when the village was attacked setup. But, I mean, just creating, like, fake Lin Kuei, like, ghosts of the Lin Kuei to follow him down hallways and, like, making himself... It's not necessarily shapeshifting. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
But it's also... The other thing about it is that this is clearly changing... I mean, first of all, if we're going to go old timeline purist, Scorpion shouldn't be there. Scorpion died at the Shaolin Temple trying to steal a map, and then his village was slaughtered after.
Yeah,
I love mythologies as much as anyone. But
Spare me.
it's never going to happen
Yeah,
again.
the point I'm trying to make is that there's not enough time in the movie to retell mythologies. So, for brevity's sake, just having Scorpion be at home and be attacked by the Lin Kuei is probably easier for people to understand, like new people who are seeing the story this way for the first time.
It is making me legitimately sad that DC had that much impact upon the overall narrative it now seems to be. Because this is now Legacy, going into the MKX comic.
Yeah, this is the third time media has shown it that way, and I didn't like it the first time, but I'm starting to just get used to it.
We're stuck now.
And look, mythology is complicated. Jango, are you eating?
Are those Tic Tacs?
It sounded like potato chips.
No, that was drugs.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have muted. My bad. Unprofessional.
It is. It's terrible.
Are those Final Fantasy Tic Tacs?
No, the drugs are gone now. I consumed them.
Okay.
What is a Final Fantasy Tic Tac?
Oh.
Think about it and reverse the syllables.
Oh, okay.
I barely know what Final Fantasy is. I don't know.
Alright, sorry.
So anyway, you know what? I'm fine. I'm fine with showing it this way. The Scorpion's backstory. I'm trying to get to is that look, if we're seeing Sonya before the boat, we're seeing Scorpion before the boat. It's kind of awkward if we don't see Lou and Johnny before the boat, and if we do see them before the boat, and this thing's only 80 minutes long, how much tournament are they really going to be able to fit?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're gonna get like a lot of backstory, and we're gonna get a lot of the end of the story. Goro gets beat, Shang gets beat, and then they're interjecting this part where Scorpion put Quan Lai to him very early and fighting him as the island is blowing up.
Probably,
but it doesn't seem like we're going to get a lot of tournament matches.
I don't think that any piece of media is ever going to fully explain how the fuck the tournament wound up with 7 people in it. It's just never going to happen.
I don't think that...
They're just going to, like, show us select fights, a bunch of mooks being dropped left and right by our heroes and by our villains. And we'll get some highlights.
The thing is that we're now in, like, an era where casual MK fans are sick of the tournament. They think of it like seeing Batman's parents die, and that really pisses me off.
Okay, well, listen, to be fair, you don't have to be a casual to be sick of the tournament. Well, unless I'm a casual.
It's not okay to wear people out on something before you've shown it the right way. Because then you're killing off your audience.
Hope you guys don't mind one of them tournaments in MK12.
Look,
what you're going to get.
It is so important to have a foundation when you're telling a story. You know, to start at the fucking beginning. And MK keeps rebooting and retelling, and every time they do it wrong. And so people are they're getting worn out on the first part of the story, which
it's also like trial and error. Like you've done it wrong times that it's like, I don't really want you to try again. You know, maybe this isn't your cup of tea. Try something new. Maybe you could do okay with something new because this maybe isn't really in your wheelhouse.
Okay, but here's the problem with it is that if you can't start at the beginning, starting at the middle doesn't make sense for new viewers. So you can't make anything.
I don't know
so
what
you're basically advocating like if you can't tell MK1, then you have to stop making MK games. And
listen, I understand the logic. I got the way it works. It's just
you don't have a franchise if you don't have the origin story.
I get it. I get it.
You know what's funny is how literally everybody knows that Ryu scarred Sagat. Nobody has to ask because nobody cares. It's old news.
I know what happened.
I feel like at this point, if they really wanted to, they could open a new MK game by recapping an MK1 version that never happened, and then just going where they wanted to from there. I wouldn't care.
I would, because it would...
I'm not burned out of the tournament, but at this point, I guess I can take it or leave it.
So here's...
It's tough. I'm not burned out on the tournament. Like, I wish there was more tournament, just not the same tournament that we saw. I'm going to do some other Mortal Kombat tournaments.
Right, but if you start at
for a
2,
while.
then people who've never seen MK before are like, what's going on? I don't understand the plot because I'm coming into it in the middle. It's like comic books. Everybody who doesn't read comic books complains that they don't know where to start, so they can't get into comic books.
It's like, did Chaos Realm ever invoke a tournament on Order Realm? Maybe. What happened there? That sounds kind of tight. What's going on?
I mean, does it?
I might take an MK game that just takes place in Chaos Realm and just brings in familiar faces that we love.
Do you really trust them to make 20 new characters?
I don't trust them to make shit. It's a toss-up. It's 50-50. I don't know.
Because that's the point I'm trying to make about telling new stories, too, is that they're bad at it.
The current people in charge, yes, they are.
The reason that I want them to retell games that have already happened is because I already know those were good. I don't want them to make new things because they're bad writers. And I know that the new thing they make is going to suck.
They're not going to make anything that's verbatim.
It's like Star Wars. I would rather have no Star Wars now than more Star Wars, because every Star Wars thing sucks.
Hey, Mandalorian says hi.
Mandalorian is a weird exception. Maybe there's a future where Jon Favreau has more power and makes more Star Wars.
Clone Wars also says hi.
Rebels kind of waves at you. We'll not get into it.
Rebels kind of waves at you from across.
Oh, fuck Rebels.
Yeah, I don't like Rebels.
it's very hit and miss. I took an extended break from it. I don't feel like going. I got more Clone Wars.
Rebels feels like the parts of Clone Wars I didn't like.
Yeah, kinda.
I mean, the best Clone Wars is the 2D one. That's that has shit in that should have been in all 3 movies.
So here's the thing: is now we're talking about Star Wars.
You started it.
Back to Scorpion's Revenge, because it looks like it's going to be good. I'm worried it's going to be too short.
I'm excited,
but it looks like it's going to be good.
Red band content. That's what people wanted to hear us talk about.
Right. So,
boy, I can't wait for some of that bad language.
Yeah, the title cards in that trailer are really cringe and kind of. But at a certain, it's also like this is what people were asking for. So it's like, I mean, you have to acknowledge that the casual MK fan, like the guys who really love fatalities and think MK is all about the gore, they're embarrassing to the rest of us.
They are.
There are 2 MK fan bases and we don't get along. So that big
notice there were maybe 3.
That big bold all caps where it says the movie's gonna have bad language, that's for those guys.
I mean, MK's never had bad language until MKX.
I would argue that on a certain level...
When was there a major fuck in MK beforehand?
Okay, multiple degrees of bad language.
Okay. Shaolin Monks is like a joke. That's like an Easter egg, man.
Still there.
Yeah, but that's not there to appeal to teenagers. That's there as a little rare Easter egg.
Just saying, cursing's not.
Okay, look, grown-ups in the real world say fuck. That's reality.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be advertised. It should, because that's treating it as weird.
It's not a feature?
Yeah, it shouldn't be treated as special.
It seems like that's for people who won't watch it because it's a cartoon, and people who like that shit think cartoon.
But you kind of have to do that in marketing.
Yeah.
You have to convince people who have preconceived notions of what your thing's going to be, that no, this is actually up your alley. Which means sometimes for those of us who already liked the thing, we have to deal with embarrassing crap sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You just put up with it and you move on with your life.
You know what got me off about this trailer?
What's that?
Centaurs.
Yes,
I did see some centaurs.
The centaur. Johnny fights the centaur. There is.
He should lose, but
fresh
okay.
centaur content in over a decade, and no, Motaro dying doesn't count.
It's nice to see. Instead of Baraka showing up and being jobbed out, to see Jobber Tarkatans. That's better for storytelling because it means that, you're not ruining fucking Baraka.
Jobber Tarkatans, Jobber fucking centaurs. Oh my god! Soon we'll actually have we have so many species of Outworlders to choose from now that we can just send out in droves to get butchered.
There's some demon-looking dudes. They look like shit from the Netherrealm. These eyeless people with horns.
There were weird eyeless people in 9, like the guys in the Deadpool who were playing dice. I mean, there are some weird creatures we don't know about still in Outworld. And I for one, am pleased to see that diversity represented in this movie. Because...
Outworld does not have a diversity problem. It is literally an endless melting pool of weird shit.
Yeah,
and I can't get enough.
It is the fantasy kitchen sink realm.
I know a lot of people didn't wind up caring for Collector much in the end, but I still think he earns his keep just for being another specimen.
Yeah, I am pleased with the existence of the Knock-Nada. I think any new race you add to Outworld is always a positive. Even if the character ends up being boring moves-wise and stuff like Collector did, I'm still glad that he exists, which I cannot say about Geras and Cetrion and Chronica.
I still feel the same way about Ferrator.
Yeah, Ferrator is, that he exists is cool. I'm not going to play him, but that they exist is cool.
I think some things with them need to be fixed conceptually, but the idea of, a symbiote-type race is good.
Yeah. What I like about this movie that it seems to be doing is... I have to, a thing I did not like about 9, the thing that really bothered me about 9, is that, Baraka and Shiva and Nightwolf and Sector and Cyrax, the fact that they were all there, it makes the movie too fucking crowded. And it's look, somebody from Outworld has to be there because the tournament is Earth versus Outworld, I get that, but why can't they be NPCs so that you can spend more screen time on the guys who should be there?
Mm-hmm.
If you introduce Baraka in MK1, then the only thing he's doing in the story is losing fights. If you wait until MK2 to introduce Baraka, then the first thing you ever see him do in the story is lead a massive slaughter of Liu Kang's home, and that's dramatically important, and it makes him seem important as opposed to just a guy who loses fights. That's good storytelling.
It's okay, Razor. MK9 can't hurt you anymore.
I don't know about that.
Do you sometimes wake up with cold sweats, screaming, seeing a dragon that's just designed a little bit wrong? Had that dream again last night. Some prick with long flowing gray anime hair. He was there.
I am
robots.
I am pleased at the tight focus. And look, yes, Kitana is there, and she wasn't in MK1, but
it helps to give background and context as to why
the thing
she's a
that
natural
makes
entryway character into Outworld.
the thing that makes Kitana showing up okay for me, besides the fact that she was in the movie, and so it's kind of like just a legacy of the franchise thing to have Kitana show up sooner than 2, is that John Tobias originally planned Kitana to be in MK1, and she ended up on the cutting room floor. It's the same reason I'd be okay if Ermac showed up there, because the rumor of Ermac started with 1. Ermac doesn't seem to be in this movie, but if he was, I'd be cool with it. But if Baraka was in this movie, I'd be like, don't shoo him in early. It doesn't fit. Like, I'm glad that there's a tight focus on the original MK1 cast, plus Kitana, Quan Chi, and Jax.
I legitimately want Goro to be the first spectral thing that they see on arriving at the island. That's something that's missed.
I would love if Goro is the first thing they see. Like, I have a feeling that the crowd of monsters in the dining hall is going to be the first Outworld monster thing they see.
Very possible.
And that Goro will, like...
be the cherry on top.
Yes. The important thing is that Goro at least does get a grand introduction, because that's another thing. 9 didn't introduce him until Liu is about to fight him, and he's the champion. How do you do that? How do you forget to mention Goro? But yeah, this movie's not gonna make 9's mistakes.
What is it? 20 more days? 24th, I think it is?
Well, that's the
29th?
DVD. The digital release is the 14th.
Hot damn, baby. 10 days. 10 days.
Yeah, it's coming. And okay, so a couple things I wanted to address about the trailers and the movie itself. So, when the Red Band trailer came out, I noticed a lot of people saying that, like, complaining that the trailer makes it look like Goro is going to kill Liu Kang. Like, there's a scene at the very end of the trailer where Goro and Liu are fighting, and Goro has Liu grabbed by the arms and legs and is stretching him out. And then it cuts to an X-ray of someone's arms being ripped off. So a lot of people are watching the trailer and thinking they're going to change the story and Liu's going to die.
That's classic trailer manipulation.
Yeah, this is editing trickery. I'm betting you that the arms being ripped off clip that is thrown in there isn't happening to Liu, it's happening to Jax. So I just wanted to address that because I've seen it like come up a lot since the Red Band trailer. The second thing is, obviously, I am known to be a purist and to nitpick every little thing. And I have had people ask me, how do you feel about Scorpion finding out the truth and fighting Quan Chi early? And I actually kind of like it.
Good, get it done.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you want them to do it the way it happened in the original timeline, then you're not going to see Scorpion's story paid off until the 4th one. And I guarantee you, even if these are successful and it gets a sequel, we're not going to get all the way to 4. We're not lucky enough for the series to last that long. So the other thing is that obviously 9, knowing that they wouldn't pay off Scorpion finding out the truth and going after Quan Chi until after 3, they changed things about 2 and 3, where Scorpion is now continually working for Quan Chi instead of freelance, like he was in the old timeline. NRS obviously thought it made sense for Scorpion to be bound to serve the person who brought him back from the dead.
Not an unfair assumption.
It makes sense. It's just not how it happened. Like, originally, it was more, I'm doing you this favor one time because we have a mutual enemy. I want you to kill Sub-Zero. And then after you do that for me, you're on your own. So that Scorpion could have different stories in MK2 and 3. And that's 9 not doing it that way was a disappointment. Now, this movie, having Scorpion find out at the end of the tournament that Quan Chi has been tricking him, and him fighting Quan Chi, allows them to go into a potential sequel with Scorpion as a freelancer again. He has actually gotten his revenge, and now he can do other things. Like, for example, do what he did in the original MK2. Go, I feel bad about killing Bi-Han. Maybe I will protect his brother to make up for it. You know?
I kind of wonder what they're going to do if they get to 3. Scorpion 3 is a very, very strange story.
Scorpion
very
3...
incidental. Yes. Very kind of a result of him being kicked out of the original 3.
Yeah, it was just like it's a little bit slapdash. It was a bit of a rush job to squeeze him back in to make up for him not being in vanilla. It was just like, well, how
One
does
afternoon,
this guy...
Shao Kahn was like, oh yeah, Netherrealm. See if I can invade that. Well, nope, that's all gone tits up. Better close that portal. Hey, Yellow Ninja, want to work for me? Yeah, sure, got nothing better to do.
Yeah. The whole thing is them looking at, well, this game is about the invasion. How can we make Scorpion relevant to the invasion? We'll say that Shao Kahn accidentally summoned him and got him to join the army.
Pretty much.
And that's fucking weird, man.
It's, I feel like the end game, one of the objectives leading up towards however many of these they do, is to try to avoid telling 4 as straight-faced as possible. Like, we might tell something with Shinnok, I doubt we will.
Here's what I would expect to happen in a world where we are lucky enough to get sequels to this movie. We will only get 1, 2, and 3, and 3 will end with, like, a stinger of Shinnok showing up and going, I'm next, and then you don't actually, like, there will never be a movie 4. That's what I expect.
You know what, though? Assuming that they do, like, one of these a year, 3 years down the line, they could just surprise bring Quan Chi back because of reasons. They really could.
Yeah, I mean, they could
come up with... It's like he was ever relevant to 2 or 3 in the first place.
There are easy ways to hand-wave what happens in 4 into this series, even if Scorpion fights Quan now.
I mean, they could just do the whole thing that Shinnok did in Armageddon, where he brought Quan back.
I mean, Quan Chi is a demon, and when demons die, they go to hell too. Except they live in hell, so it's just like a return trip home. That's just how this franchise works. If you kill a demon, you're just sending them back home. They can come back.
Thud. And down we go.
But
so,
I mean, the point. I am pleased at the potential for Scorpion to, like, this change to the story actually makes it possible for them to be more loyal to the story in the sequels. Because Scorpion is supposed to be on his fucking own and trying to make up for killing Bi-Han in the sequels.
What if they'll find a way to bring him back to being Hanzo at some...
Oh, that's something I really hate in these new games.
You think?
Well,
I just hate him being Hanzo, like, after he's gone through his entire redemption arc.
I just don't like the distinction between Hanzo Hasashi and Scorpion. Like,
no, like
Eddie Brock and Venom.
That's a bad way of putting it. I should have just said, I wonder if they'll have a way to bring him back to life.
I would actually prefer... So, one of my complaints about the way they do that in X and 11, because, like, I like Alive Hanzo as a character, like his personality, and bringing the clan back, and, you know, raising Takeda. I like all that. Like, I think it's good development for him. But I wish it had happened without him getting the pupils back in his eyes. Like, I don't think that was necessary. I don't think he has to be alive to do that stuff. Because if he's alive, but still has all of his Hellspawn powers, it just feels weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know, like a dead guy running around on Earth with his own school.
I mean, there's nothing that actually says that he has to return to the Netherrealm. Just as long as he doesn't die, he can stay wherever he chooses to be.
It feels like an area where they haven't quite tightened up the rules a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
because the original thing
when
was
when she kicked him into the acid bath in Deadly Alliance. Yes, he came right back.
Well, specifically, when you kill Scorpion, he respawns in Hell, and then he has to find you again.
Which he just sort of did. Like, they never specify how this shit works exactly.
Well, in Deadly Alliance, they say that he had to, like, walk back to the portal and come back to Outworld and find Quan Chi's trail again and, like, hunt him down to the castle he and Shang had built. Like,
I'm just saying,
he has to take a walk.
It's odd, is all I'm saying.
The thing about it, I get what you're saying, because the rules seem to be different for Scorpion than other types of undead. And that goes all the way back to MK1, where they said that specters are a reincarnation of a person, that he's technically alive. Like, he's sort of both alive and a dead guy. So,
yeah, I get where you're coming from.
Like, and he's fighting for Earthrealm in the first tournament. Like, they have Quan Chi say fight for Netherrealm in the tournament and stuff now, which is weird because Netherrealm doesn't have a stake in MK1. It's a tournament between Earth and Outworld.
That always confused me even before I was...
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, in the original MK1, even though Scorpion was undead, he counted as fighting for Earthrealm, because Earthrealm is still the realm he's from.
Like, I mean, granted, you have Noob Saibot, a dead guy, just standing around the original tournament. I mean, not tournament. I mean, the original timeline during MK3.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
The series is just chock full of dead people standing around like nothing's ever happened to them. I'm just saying, it's one of those things that, like, I don't like to think about too much.
I don't really have a problem with it, because Noob Saibot clearly, like, was changed by dying. And that's really all I ask. Like, I don't ask that the dead stay dead, because that's actually kind of boring. I ask that death be a transformative experience for a character. And it definitely was that for Scorpion and Noob.
I suppose I just feel that, like, they kind of have their home realm, and they should be relegated to it to a certain extent.
Like, they should have a time limit when they're outside the Netherrealm?
Something like that, you know?
I feel like...
Otherwise, like, what's the point of being dead?
Mm-hmm.
What's the differential?
Like,
you're basically, at that point, you're in Dragon Ball wearing a halo around and just wandering around for those 24 hours saying, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm dead. A little bit of a bummer. Food don't taste as good.
I think what it is that, so MK characters are obviously like these heroic, important figures in the MK universe. They're not average Joes. Like, if you or me die and go to hell, we're not going to be able to walk back out like Scorpion can, and the reason we're not going to be able to walk back out is because a necromancer is not going to walk up to us and offer us immortality.
Or is one.
So, is there anything else we can discuss after Scorpion's Revenge?
Yeah, we now know that Elder Sub-Zero sounds exactly like younger Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Which many of us had assumed.
Bihan is being voiced by Steve Bloom.
I was hoping up until now that, like, he'd put some variation in his tone, but...
I can't say that I care, actually. Like, I don't mind Bloom as Bihan, because I've never really thought of him as the definitive Kuai Liang voice. Like, I appreciate the job he does as Kuai Liang. I think he does a good job in 11 and X. But to me, Kuai Liang's voice sounds like Sean Connery a little bit because of Deception and Armageddon and versus DC and 9. So
you got a Sean Connery vibe from that? I didn't.
This fight will be your last. Like, he puts an H in words. The sh noise.
I don't know if I'd call that an H.
That's what I hear.
That's very bizarre.
But, yeah, like, to me, that's what Kuai Liang is supposed to sound like. And, like, I'm fine with Bloom, but I never got used to him. So him as Bi-Han is fine to me. And also, like, if he ends up being Sub-Zero in the sequel too, like, the brothers have the same voice, I can live with it. Like, I can imagine a version of continuity where they are twins and Bi-Han is the elder because he came out first. Like, they've never specified how far apart in age the brothers actually are. Also, I always felt like Sub-Zero's primary costume in X looks like Bi-Han, not like Kuai Liang. So
it's a very evil-looking costume.
Yeah, and he's got no scar, and when you do a fatality to him and his mask falls off, one of those fatalities, it doesn't look like the same face as his other skins.
I do also appreciate how that costume in this movie just looks infinitely better. Like, they got rid of the kunais on his fucking wrists, and they got rid of the forehead belts.
We talked about this the last time, the last episode when the first trailer released, how the MKX costumes look so much better when you simplify them. Like, I will say, with one exception, like, Raiden's mantle, the cloud pattern doesn't work for me anymore. It's too simplified. But everybody else, like, especially Sonya, with the change from blue to green, Sonya looks fucking great. Liu Kang, like, I did not like that outfit in X. I didn't like the gray hair. I actually, like, can deal with it. Like, I think it looks good in this. Like, I mean, he's wearing the original MK2 pants. He just has a shirt on. It works. It's fine.
We do also get a shot of Shao Kahn in this Red Band trailer, which is the MK9 design, but it also looks way fucking better.
Yeah, like, they did something with the helmet where those don't look like cornrows anymore.
And, like, the shoulder pads look fucking huge. He just looks fucking wide. It's sick.
It's like I still don't necessarily think it's samurai enough. That's always been my problem with MK9 Khan's outfit. Mm-hmm. But this is obviously like a quick flash, so I don't care. It's fine. Mm-hmm. For the purposes of the movie, a brief glimpse at Shao Kahn where his shoulder pads are not Japanese, I can live with.
By the time the next one rolls around, maybe they'll take a bit more inspiration from the older games. Who knows?
Most likely not. They'll probably take inspiration from 11.
Well,
I really hope they don't do, like, the male stripper collar, then, for Shao Kahn.
What I would like to see is them taking inspiration from at least their take on the old version of Shao Kahn. I don't mind the retro-ish 11 Shao Kahn that much. It looks okay.
Yeah, like, if they at least look at the alternate costumes.
That's literally all I ask.
I would like for the sequels to have the freedom to not necessarily have to repeat costumes from the games.
It would be nice if they could actually come up with something different.
Like, I want them to have the choice to do something original or do something from a game other than the one that came out most recently during development of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you look at Johnny, and he's obviously wearing an original design. It's actually a design from the MK9 crew. But it's not the costume that he actually wore in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks good. Like, I love the Miami Vice gold necklace.
I've got the still of Shao Kahn up right now, actually, like the moment. And there's a few things that make it a bit more streamlined and nicer. Like, the Samurai V over eyes is a little bit more straightforward. Not quite as angular as it appeared in 9 from my...
It had a curve to it in 9 that made it look kind of lame.
I don't think
this feels like kind of a blend between original look and 9 look.
Yeah, it's got like the spikes on the head, which weren't there in 9.
Yeah, there was fucking stone cornrows in 9.
Yeah, this is so much better. God, simplified
like the way that they like kind of like accentuate the eyes, just like how just fucking red they are. Like they don't do that anymore.
It's a little touch that I've missed.
It's nice. It's nice. That's the the overall point that I'm enthusiastic about is that obviously my main complaint about costume design in the games for the past several is that they're too overcomplicated. There's too much detail. There's too many like zigzaggy New 52 lines on things. There's like Bryan Singer X-Men stripes on leather pants and stuff like that. I
feel like someone on that team really wants them to be comparable to Soul Calibur. And that's not where I want them to
Yeah, and I haven't liked the costume design in Soul Calibur since 2 because they're too fucking over-detailed.
If you're going to take something from Soul Calibur, take the character creation system. Anyway.
But, like, when you do things in a cartoon, you have to simplify them so they're faster to animate, so that, like, the guy who's drawing, 30 cells of animation per second isn't, going insane from how many little zigzags he's got to put on the pants. And it improves every single outfit. Every single one!
I do miss Quan Chi's MK4.
Yeah, but at least the X one isn't the shirtless with the amulet one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
I still don't like the skull on the chest.
I don't know. I'm fine with it. It's like a magic talisman sort of thing. He's probably using it in spells. In theory, that's why he wears that.
It just looks like either a decoration or like he's like hiding some Snickers bars in there. I don't know.
And like the checkerboard of leather straps on his abdomen.
I'm fine with that. It's a obvious reference to Pinhead.
To Hellraiser. Yeah.
Which is okay. Like, that's kind of what Quan Chi is. He's less sexualized about it, but he's totally Pinhead, basically.
Yeah.
Looking back over the clip, seeing Hanzo frozen, and then, like, shoves the icicle through his mouth and out the back of his neck.
That's overkill.
I don't know. It might be set up for a head rip.
I feel like that's probably the killing shot. Like, that's the whole fatality.
Yeah.
I kind of hope not. I'll be disappointed.
You know what?
It doesn't...
I don't think it's overkill. I actually think, because he's killing him with one blow. Like, he froze him to hold him in place, and then he's just, like, quickly finishing it. Which is a lot better than a lot of, like, obviously what we're comparing it to is the long drawn-out fatalities of the games.
Well, by comparison, yeah.
Obviously, I would prefer if he did the spine rip, but this is fine.
It's so like brain dead though. Like, how do you not do the spine rip with Sub-Zero, man? Like, that's like the Sub-Zero thing that people know.
Well, when he's in hell talking to Quan Chi for that couple seconds there, he does appear covered in a lot of blood from like neck downward. It's also on his shoulders.
I wonder if that's not just blood from all the demons he's been fighting, because we have seen that is part of that scene. Like, he arrives in hell, and he's surrounded by demons, and he has to fight them, and then Quan Chi shows up and offers him, like, hey, good job killing all those demons. You're pretty strong. You wanna be alive again?
10 days till we find out, baby. 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Was that about it? Nothing else to talk about?
I think so. I think all that's left is if we want to do Q&A.
What are we running now? How long?
Hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
What is it? Q&A?
We can do a couple questions. I think it's been a while. People probably would appreciate it.
Be nice if we acknowledged our dwindling fan base. Hey, man. Gotta keep it straight. So, let's see. Going back to... Oh, goodness gracious. Middle of 2019.
Yeah, these are from before the game came out.
Question for the show. I've caught a lot of wrestling references on the show. Asks this is between heel turns, faces, and jobbers. So I'm assuming that at least half of you have a tertiary knowledge of wrestlers.
Honestly, it's 1.5 of us.
I would be very much interested in one pick from each of you. Choose an MK character paralleled with their wrestling counterpart. As in, tell me why you think Cassie is Becky Lynch or why Ermac is Shawn Michaels, etc. While you guys are answering that, I'm not gonna.
I'm not gonna.
Well, I mean, obviously...
I don't know shit.
Obviously, Triple H is aware of Shao Kahn and a fan because he keeps wearing the skull helmet in his intros at WrestleManias.
He does. I forgot about that.
I'm sorry, man. I can't be asked. I don't care about wrestling.
I get it. It's honestly... I don't have a lot of answers for you. Honestly, most characters don't have a convenient, like, wrestling parallel. Like, I suppose... You could say Brock Lesnar is Goro because he's a very large man with a winning streak.
I haven't watched wrestling since, like, the mid-90s. Maybe Curtis Stryker is like the big boss man because they are both police officers?
There are...
purport to be?
I feel like Goro is really, really, really good at fighting, and Brock...
I mean, in the real world, Brock has been a UFC champion.
I mean, sure, but in wrestling, like, he kind of fucking kills everybody. Accidentally.
I don't know about...
If only there was an MK character with a musical instrument who could be the honky-tonk man.
I think Glacier is Sub-Zero.
Yes!
Boy, Jesus Christ.
Out of the fucking park.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Gosh, it's almost like they did that on purpose.
Yeah, right?
That brief summer of 1997 where we had 3 MK characters in fucking WCW. I remember that.
You know what? Like, I mean, I think The Miz is trying to be Johnny Cage, like, on purpose. I don't know how successful he is. He's not their best on the mic.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's just some guy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. There's definitely a thing. If you talk about wrestling past a certain point, it's like... But if you want to talk Glacier...
Yeah, that's probably... That's probably it.
All right, I guess that's that. Kellen Clutch, a longtime supporter of ours. Hello there. If you were to choose one character out of the franchise, what song pops into your head when you think about them? Or what song best fits and describes them? P.S. No choosing character theme songs in OST.
Okay, so I have a question about that P.S. If I said that I think Katana's theme song is Halcyon and On, does that count?
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
Theme song from an OST?
Is that what you mean by, like... Because the MK characters haven't really had theme songs in OSTs apart from the MK album.
Yeah, like, if he just means don't list Chinese Ninja Warrior, that's fine. But, like, what if we...
goes, though.
Is it fair to pick a random song from the movie soundtrack and say, I think this goes with the character?
That's the thing. I'm never not gonna, like... I'm never not gonna think Zero Signal and not think of Scorpion, you know?
Yeah, which one was the reptile one in the first movie?
Tracy Lords.
Yes. That's,
That's the reptile theme.
That's the reptile theme.
That's all there is to it.
And Conga Fury. That's Jade.
Yeah, no question. Ooh, Scooter, Fire.
Yeah,
that's totally Smoke.
That's Smoke.
I
mean, I could probably sit around and think of some some songs that weren't on a soundtrack for Mortal Kombat that I think of when I think of MK characters, but it would take me some time. The only song that's ever Inside the Fire by Disturbed tends to make me think of Quan Chi. That's the only one right off the top of my head.
Sometimes, when, I hear Simple Plans, how could this happen to me? Sometimes.
I mean, do you guys... Are there any other...
I don't really have an answer because I don't really listen to a whole lot of music like that. When I listen to music, I more think of... I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of 80s synth, and I've been sort of associating that with Sato because of the whole cyberpunk thing, but that's really it. No, any specific character.
Yeah, yes, you're not the only one who listens to a lot of instrumental, so...
So next question?
Yeah, next question.
All right. Okay, Kelly Clutch has asked us, a good half of the questions that are up there. So in the interest of fairness, I'm going to skip ahead for a few.
Damn, snubbed.
Well, we'll go back. We'll go back.
We'll go back. Shaolin Drunks asks us, who are some actors that you'd be interested in seeing in the upcoming MK?
So I have always thought that... Oh, God, I can't even remember his name. So you remember that movie we watched, Ninja, right?
Yes.
What was that guy? The white guy, the stunt man. He's in a lot of martial arts movies these days.
Scott Adkinson?
Adkins, yes, Adkins. I've always thought Adkins would be a good Kuai Liang. And I think it's because of the movie Ninja that I think that.
I don't really have much of an answer. I think...
I mean, I've always said that, Jason Statham should play Kano.
Oh, that'd be a great one.
But also, Statham's starting to get up there in years, and, maybe I remember when Game of Thrones didn't suck yet. There was, that one, one of the Greyjoys, he has a boat, and he's he'd be a Kano. He'd be a good Kano. I can't remember his fucking name.
I was afraid you were going to say Jai Courtney.
No. Why would I say Jai Courtney?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I was thinking... I brought that exact possibility up a while ago. I think a year and a half or something on one of our episodes. Because, yeah... what wasn't... not Theon. Theon's the main Greyjoy.
Yeah,
Victorian? No. Was it Victorian on the show? Victorian Greyjoy?
I don't think that's the one. I don't think that's
Are you talking about his brother, uncle, whatever the fuck it was?
The guy with the beard.
I think that was his uncle, wasn't it?
Okay, if you watch Game of Thrones in, the 4th season or the 5th season, Kano was basically on that show. And he's the Greyjoy.
He was trying to fucking fuck Cersei.
He's pretty blatantly Kano. You can't miss him.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Trying to fuck Cersei. That's the one. Yeah. Let me look him up while you answer that next question. Oh, wait, yeah, Jeremy Irons is getting up there in years, but I have always thought he'd make a bitch.
Who you cut out right at the end?
Jeremy Irons.
As what character?
Bitchin' Shinnok.
Shinnok, yes, that's what I thought you were going to say. Yeah. I can totally see it.
I'd love to see Jeremy Irons as Shinnok. If you're 30 years younger, Reiko. I'm a huge... I stand Jeremy Irons.
I mean, so the nice thing about Shinnok is that he's supposed to look like a really old man. So you can totally get, like, a really good actor who's also, like, maybe too old for action and still cast him as Shinnok. Because, like, honestly, I don't want to see Shinnok doing kung fu anyway.
Yeah, I want to see him, like, firing laser blasts that are as big as he is.
Like, I feel like in a fighting game, Shinnok's style should be like Dr. Fate, where he doesn't... Every single normal is actually a spell.
I kind of really like him kicking ass in Kung Fu, personally.
No, like,
it's really
this also
weird,
goes
and it
to
shouldn't make sense. Like gods wouldn't do this, but it's kind of cool because of that.
One of the frequent debates that we have on the Discord is whether he looks good in that sleeveless costume from X or not. I really hate that costume, but some people like it for some reason. Like, they actually want the old man to, like, be showing off his biceps.
It's
fighting.
too fucking ninja. He's got a fucking ninja mantle on it, man, and like the whole sleeveless thing.
But I mean,
and the ropes.
Some people, for some reason, are into it. So I have to accept that there are people who like Shinnok as like an old man who fights, and I just think it's super weird. Like,
I mean, old man that fights. This is Mortal Kombat. That's kind of the brand. Everybody knows Kung Fu in Mortal Kombat for some reason.
So here's look. There's a clear difference between like in a Shaw Brothers movie.
It's not logical.
In a Shaw Brothers movie, the old man who does kung fu always wears like a baggy robe or is also buff.
And they keep trying to punch them in the dick.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
Never works.
I don't want to see how gaunt and skeletal the fighting grandpa is. That ruins it.
That sounds like something he would do, though. He knows you don't want to see it.
Okay, so the answer was Pilu Asbike, who plays Euron Greyjoy.
Euron, that's the name I was trying to remember.
Greyjoy.
That guy's totally Kano.
Yeah.
Seriously is. All right.
It's quite a name.
I'm trying to think. Well, Shang-Chi is coming out, and that movie is essentially the actual Mortal Kombat movie coming out. So
yeah,
I
it's
guess
actually
Sam
about
Liu
a tournament.
I guess Sam Liu is Liu Kang, and who's playing the Mandarin?
Oh, is the Mandarin actually going to be in something now?
Yeah, he's going to be Shang Tsung in that.
Amazing.
He's running the tournament.
Yeah, he's also the main character's father. Like, in the comics, Shang-Chi is the son of the literal Fu Manchu, but Fu Manchu is now like super racist to people, so nobody uses him anymore in stories. So they've decided to replace him with the Mandarin, who was always called a Fu Manchu knockoff.
They're not wrong. That's fine.
But the Mandarin has less of the racist baggage, so they're able to use him without offending people. Especially because every character in the movie is Chinese, so like, yes, you're presenting this Chinese villain, but you're also showing all these other things a Chinese person can be, so it balances out. As opposed to if he was fighting white guy Tony Stark, that seems racist to people.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree, but I understand why they think that.
At least he had, like, the rings of power to back up.
Yeah. Well,
Fu Manchu's defining characteristics is Asian and evil.
Yeah, that's
it. That's all he's got.
In the Shang-Chi comics, there's not, like, the supernatural much, if at all. Like, it's really just a 70s kung fu story about a dude who is rejecting the gangster family line he comes from. But I assume because Marvel movies need a little flavor, because, you know, it's a fantastical superhero world, and also it's the fucking Mandarin. The Mandarin is known for his 10 magic rings. There will be some magic in this movie.
All right. Was there any other actors we were thinking of?
You know, I don't know enough Asian actors, and like most of the cast of MK is Asian, so it's hard. Like, I'd like to have more. Look, honestly, Tagawa is the right age to play Old Man Shang, so just keep bringing Tagawa back and everything. Okay, so I have long thought that, why am I having such a hard time remembering people's names right now? Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane looks like a young clone of Christopher Lambert. I would cast him as Raiden.
Wow. Bold.
I mean, he does have a clone. His name is Aaron Eckhart. They look very fucking similar.
I don't know about that.
Two-Face?
Yeah, Two-Face.
I don't think Two-Face looks like Christopher Lambert.
I don't see that at all.
No. Tom Jane and Eckhart.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Jane looks like Lambert, who looks like...
What? No. I'm not saying he looks like...
I don't think Thomas Jane looks like Aaron Eckhart.
I think he does.
Okay.
I think he fucking does.
But I do think he looks like Christopher Lambert. So
That
I
is
would
also true.
cast him as Raiden, because like I'm so tired of Raiden being anything other than that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next cue. Okay. House of James asks us, besides Khan, Shinnok, Onaga, Shang Tsung, Kronika, and Quan Chi, who would you like to see become the main antagonist in an MK game?
Noob
He still thinks Dark Raiden would be great if they went at all of them, or Noob Saibot for his own Brotherhood.
I don't think Noob is big enough to become a final boss, but I have always wanted to see a game where you actually fight Dark Raiden at the end.
I accept that.
I mean, I'll be honest, I think Dark Raiden is the only answer as far as characters who have not been a boss yet, who could be a boss. I don't know that anyone, like, obviously all the other characters are designed to be, like, supporting cast roles, you know, minions, like, they're all so established as not strong enough to be, like, you know, like, an end boss has to be a threat to 30 people at once, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would take the one being using the soul of the Great Kung Lao as a horrible, corrupted avatar.
Oh God,
That might be a little dark for me.
Yeah, I know, but we've already
so fucked up.
we've already like snapped Liu Kang's neck, man. There's no limits as far as I'm concerned. I just want to see Great Kung Lao in a fucking video game for once.
Well, there's a difference between killing a character and corrupting their soul to me. Like,
that's quite true.
If you break a man's body, he can come back, or, you know, he can go to heaven. You know, it's not the worst ending. But, like, turning someone evil is always, like, I hate it.
I know.
I hate
know
whenever a good guy turns evil.
It's a cop-out, but it's not actually
like,
Great Kung Lao.
Like, maybe dark isn't the right word. Depressing is what I mean. I don't like...
But just off the top of my head, I can't think of a legitimate reason why you would have Great Kung Lao as an end boss, but he does seem like he could be end boss material.
I mean, he is a large dude, so I could see it working.
Just off the top of my head, you know?
I guess...
I mean, you know that they would make him lanky as shit.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, as far as the, a possessed character, does Onaga count as a time Reptile was an end boss? Or is Onaga his own thing?
I think Onaga's own thing.
Right, so...
Reptile had his moment of glory, but even in his own... It doesn't count.
So if your end boss is possessed Great Kung Lao, is it actually Great Kung Lao, or is it the person possessing them who's the boss?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So it's technically the one being.
You can also do it like where, most Soul Calibur games, Nightmare is the villain, but the actual end boss you fight is Inferno, which is the spirit of the sword possessing Siegfried.
There you go.
So you could, like, Great Kung Lao would be like the mid-boss, the Goro of that situation. I could also, well, I think there's a way to make Dagon threatening.
Yeah, I was about to say, he deserves another shot.
It would take a lot of work, and obviously a lot of people in the fan base are going to wonder why even bother. But I do like Dagon, so I'm gonna suggest him.
He just comes from an unfortunate time period. That's all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyone else?
I think we all said it. Jango, did you say anything?
Yeah, is there anybody who you could see being an end boss?
Character-wise, that hasn't already been an end boss.
Somebody who hasn't already.
I had said someone. I feel like I was hyping up somebody recently, and I don't remember who it was. And everybody was like, "What? No, you're fucking retarded." Maybe I was. I don't remember it. That's what I've been over here trying to think about. I don't know who it was. I'm sorry. Age is getting me.
We have been going for a little while.
It's true.
It's been a minute.
I think some of us, because we always record these late at night, I'm tired. That's probably why I can't remember any fucking actor's name right now.
All right, I'm going to take one from Sevatar.
Sev.
Yep. He has a legit question and is as surprised as anyone.
Oh?
The MK9 demo had the ability to tease by placing stage soundtracks with songs you could upload to the console. Did you ever have any interest in doing this for 9? And if so, what stages and songs? Or do we consider the soundtracks to those stages hollowed? Obviously, we all would have done this for MKX if we could have.
Yeah.
I never really do anything like that. Like I never. That's just not my thing. I don't really put some heavy metal soundtrack to my video games and MK.
I think
it just seems a little AMV-ish and just kind of cringy to me.
Yeah, I kind of.
Most games I would agree with you, but I feel like the soundtracks have gotten so bland and forgettable that I would really like some actual music.
Can I say the old tracks?
Yeah, honestly, I just kind of replace all the stages with the Jango remade version of their actual songs.
Yeah, there we go.
Your shit's still in my MP3 player. Well, block player.
Stop it.
Shit's still good.
It's true. It's good. It's tight.
Glad you guys like it. Glad someone does.
Well, there's a thing I do in Mugen where sometimes I'll put a song to be funny in. I'll have it keyed to a character when you fight them on the ladder or to a stage. Most of it is stuff I've already mentioned before. Like when I fight Jade in Mugen, it's always Conga Fury. I have some for certain stages like the Church and the Pit 3, I have keyed what you would call epic trailer music, like stuff from Two Steps from Hell. I feel like that's sort of for those really churchy or grandiose parts of the MK3 state story or environment where it's this is the big end boss. This is you're fighting Shao Kahn and this is the end of the game. I like something a little bombastically orchestral. Trailer music kind of has that right sound to me.
Mm-hmm.
For Mugen, I just straight up found the best forms of HD versions of stages that I could, and I put Jango's music as soundtrack to the MK1 one.
Yeah, that's what I've done for most of them.
I don't know. I do a lot of times I'll just end up turning, especially with the MKX and MK11. I drop the music all the way down in the game. And oftentimes just leave it that way. And I'll turn on, if I want to listen to some music while I'm doing it, I'll turn on Killer Instinct. I go to a lot because it works really well. Because Killer Instinct music is really, really great.
It is really, really good.
You
know what? I could play an entire game, any game. It doesn't even have to be a fighting game. I could play any game in the world and just have Django's not Django, Jago.
No, Jago, there you go.
I could just have the Jago song playing the whole game, and that would be fine. I would enjoy it.
2013 or original? Are we talking Let's Do It Now?
No, the 2013 one. The
Cyber Warrior.
Oh, yeah. That one was fucking great.
That one.
There's actually some bits in Eternal where,
Found
like...
him in the car wash underneath the table.
Yes, that's...
I swear to God, that's what I thought he was saying on the first way through.
It really does sound like that.
Where's my N-word Jago? Found him in a car wash underneath the table. Now you can't unhear it. Okay, but real talk. I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. I pursue myself in game music. I really do like MK9's, most of 9's remixes of classic songs, for the most part. When I was playing 9, no. I would let it play. I would enjoy them. I actually listen to MK9 music every now and then, along with other MK soundtracks as I'm out.
You know what? I do really like the songs in 9 too. I have this thing, this struggle when I play Mugen, where I'm like, for Goro's lair, do I use Goro versus Art, or do I use the Goro's lair from 9, because I fucking love that one too, and I can't decide.
Right? It's good. I like to take on the Living Forests, the Armory. I really did the Armory theme. It's good stuff. I like 9's soundtrack. People shout at it just for trying to remix the originals, but I think it does a good job.
Yeah,
I thought it was good.
One of my favorite things in 9, and obviously like rare, I don't often compliment something that is in 9. One of my favorite things in 9 story mode is that during the first third of the game, the MK1 parts, they would play the opening to the Goro's Lair music at the beginning of like every fight. Like in the transition from cutscene to fight.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they did do that.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, X's music kind of sucked. I thought MK11's was a little bit better. But I still wouldn't go out of my way to replace it.
It doesn't really, like... It exists, so that's better than X.
Yeah.
But it doesn't super have a personality. Like,
Sea of Blood, though.
I can't necessarily remember any songs from 11. I remember liking the Fire Garden music, but I don't remember what it sounds like when I'm not hearing it.
If you listen to Sea of Blood in isolation, you would believe it's an old school MK track. Like, I found myself having to turn the volume of the music upwards a little, because I thought it was too far in the back. But it's made by Dan Forden, and it's got that old timey feel to it that I rather enjoyed. All right. Let's take another one from Kiala Clutch, because she's got like 7 up there. All right. Party question. If you knew you'd be best buds in real life, which character would it be and why?
Wait, what?
Which MK character would you be best buds with in real life?
I'm going to say mocap.
Okay, this is going to be really weird, but I am 100% into becoming a cyborg. I think me and Sector would be like on the same page in life. I cannot shed this imperfect meat shell soon enough.
I would legitimately like to spend a lot of time with Shang Tsung. I don't know if we'd be best buddies, but I feel like he'd actually appreciate having someone to pass his knowledge on to, or appreciate the shit he's doing. Because I feel like he gets a lot of shit and is underappreciated.
He does have kind of overworked.
There's
almost like working for Shao Kahn is a little bit like a cubicle job, and Kahn is the Lumberg, and Shang most of the reason he is the way he is that he just feels like put upon to do all the things and never gets like complimented when it doesn't go wrong.
I mean, I don't know if I'd want to kiss his ass. He'd probably expect me to, but I think that he could benefit from just having a lab assistant around.
You know
I
what?
think that's what he needs.
So the thing about the MK universe is, like, if you wanted to learn magic, like to be a wizard's apprentice, your only options are bad guys.
All right. Kayla also asks us to do our best impression of our current main. Or Jango, Smokeman, did you?
We have a main?
Do you have a main?
I don't know if I have a main.
Let's see. My current main did not specify Mortal Kombat.
I mean, I'm sure it doesn't even have to be 11 if it was Mortal Kombat. You know what? I get, like... Okay, so obviously my main is Liu Kang, so I could just go... That's boring. That's boring.
You know.
And I can't do it. There are two characters that I feel like I'm actually good at doing an impression of them. One of them is Scorpion. It would require me to yell. I'm not going to yell into the mic. The other is Quan Chi. Like, I really like just walking around going, "You will serve me in the nether realm."
Quan Chi's fun. Or you can just do the boule and all that stuff.
Boule!
Yep. Shit's tight.
Like, I don't know how it sounds to other people.
It sounds good.
But I enjoy doing Quan Chi's voice. Like, that's a fun time.
Well, all I've really got to say is that you will place Sector into Mortal Kombat.
You're doing
you will acquire parts for Sector.
The Deception Conquest version.
It's the only canon version as far as I'm concerned. No, I'm kidding. Like, legitimately, I love how Sector days, but Deception Sector has a place in my heart. I don't know what the fuck, but I'm never going to forget it.
I get it. It is fun.
Also, where there is smoke, there is no space on the roster. Oh, sure, we're gonna put that asshole in the shadows in and the glue is stalking me. No. So smoke.
Nope, never.
I'm gonna sit on my own thumbs for... There you go.
It's a shame.
Impressions?
Yeah. Impressions.
You know, did I say my best friend character? I don't remember if I did.
I don't know if you did, no.
I was thinking about it real hard. I'd probably say I was going to be a friend of one of the characters. It would be Fujin, because he's got a lot of time on his hands. Just kind of chill, sit back, watch everybody fight each other. It sounds tight. And for an impression, I would probably have to go with Fujin.
Let's hear it.
And just not say anything because I'm never there.
Damn.
I saw that one coming.
Iceberg.
Or if you really, if you really wanted, what the fuck he was doing in MKX? He had to punch it. We'll deal with it later, Kenji. Just tell Kenji.
We'll deal with it later, Kenji.
Not now, Kenji.
Where are my pills?
You know, I've talked on the Discord a couple times about how I have this sort of pipe dream where I run a D&D game set in the MK universe for people on the Discord. I don't know if I'll ever actually do it, but I kind of want to. The reason I want to is so I get to do the voices.
That actually sounds pretty fun. That'd be tight.
All right. Was there anyone else who didn't list the best bud or do a voice? Smokeman, can I you?
I think I jokingly said mocap.
Yes, you did.
And
Oh, my balls!
Well, my main in 11 is Baraka. So I guess I could try to do my best cock contour or some shit like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
All I got of that was combat. You understood enough. All right.
Combat.
Hey, there you go.
What is tight?
Any more? Next question. Legendary Prime asks, what is the worst thing to come out of the Netherrealm era and the best thing to come out of it?
See, for me, it's a toss-up between the entire MK9 story mode and Chronica.
Okay, so the worst thing is that time travel is now part of MK lore.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that.
The best thing to come out of it is 9's gameplay.
Yes.
Okay. Toss it.
For worst things, I'd put like a honorary mention to the combat kids. Like, fucking hate all four of them.
I still like Takeda, and I know Jango does.
Well, Takeda.
I mean, look, I get your complaints with him, but he requires the least fixing. Can we at least agree on that?
I can agree.
This is true.
Boy, did fan favorite Jackie get some fixing.
Like I give a fuck.
She got a lot of fixing. She got millions of dollars worth of fixing.
She got a Sue How move, man.
She got fixed all the way into the top tier. She got fixed into every single match of Final Combat. That's what she got.
Boy.
She's a little more fun to play now, I'll give her that.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so.
I like the jacket costume.
I do like the rainbow jacket. I'm a fan of that.
She's improved gratuitously.
I mean, the core
tremendously from X. There's no question.
I mean,
some of the core problems are still there.
Even though I don't play, like, even when I did play 11, I didn't play, like, most of the roster. I still made variations for everybody. My Jackie is wearing the rainbow jacket, and the variation is called Lisa Frank.
Nice. Mine is also wearing the rainbow jacket. I called her Lady J. That's a deep reference.
I don't do
It's a little G.I. Joe for you?
Yo, Joe. Salute, tears, eagles, etc.
Half the battle.
The worst thing to come out of the Netherrealm. Okay? Like, I mean, it's so many years on now. And, you know, we're still suffering from the shit MK9 play. We really are.
I knew that was going to happen. Like, the number one thing I always said about the 9's changes to the story is you can't build a house on a bad foundation. Everything that they did that they shouldn't have done in 9 had consequences for the stories of X and 11. It kept coming back. Once you do this shit, you have to live with the shit you did.
They tried, and they really tried to, like, pave over that brick shit house, and I give them a little bit of credit for that and trying to make the best of a bad situation and take things in different directions and maybe, go as far out of their way as they could to not retell everything the way it was before, which I can understand. But God, did they have to botch 9 so bad.
Is that the best thing or the worst thing?
Worst thing is the story. Best thing is 9's gameplay. Without a doubt. That's the kind of game 9 is. The story is such hot garbage, but everything around it was so much fun. Except for maybe some of them costumes.
It really was, like... It really was the best video game they've ever made.
Yeah. Can't really say no.
Like,
might be inclined to agree.
The and the modes, they've still never topped the challenge tower. They've only made lesser versions of it. They've taken the challenge tower apart and turned it into a lot of smaller towers that are less fun.
Crypt was still good. Crypt was a lot of fun to navigate through, except for that fucking jump scare thing.
Yeah, like, 9 was the last time the Crypt actually let you unlock everything in a game. Like, the X Crypt had the fucking gambling shit, and the 11 Crypt is just more and worse of that. But
well, I mean, before you just ruin all of my material here, I was gonna say my least favorite thing about the NetherRealm era is the randomness and bullshit with unlocking that's become a thing now, and it's getting kind of worse. Well, I don't know if it's hard to say if MK11 is worse than Injustice 2.
I don't even know like what term to use. It's like it's not microtransactions, but it's microtransaction culture.
It's bad.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Artificial padding.
Deliberate inconveniencing.
It's whatever. It's shit.
RNG-based grind is the basic summary of the problem.
It's the worst. It's easily the worst, because at least, just fucking... I like being able to unlock the shit that I want to unlock. Hot take, right? You can't fucking... But now
just let me earn coins and then see a menu and buy the things on the menu with my coins.
It's so yeah, that's easily the worst thing. The best thing for me would be kind of two parts, but they work together. I feel like the best thing is just gameplay in general. All the games play like Mortal Kombat again, in some way, like some recognizable way, which wasn't the case before. Like, oh, this is Mortal Kombat. This is fun. Gameplay in general is the best thing, along with that, including really good netcode now. Those two things for me work together to make a really awesome experience, and the experience that I liked so much about all of the games. About Mortal Kombat 9. Well, Mortal Kombat 9 and ass netcode. Shit, that would have been great. But still, the gameplay, all that shit with netcode is my best part.
What a world we live in.
Mm-hmm.
Whole 3D era. Story's the greatest thing. Everything around it's great. Wonderful. Combat's not so good. In fact, it's kind of shite. But, at least everything else is great. And now here we are. It's 2020. And the gameplay is all I can really praise.
It's, it's so...
And even then...
It's so weird to be, like, down on a video game when playing the game is the best part and all the other parts are what sucks. Like, and I get people who are like, it's a video game. I enjoy playing it, so it's doing it right. And the 3D era sucks because it was bad to play. I get it. But to me...
I think you had to be there. I think you really did.
I feel like the value of the package, like the overall, like, there's sort of more content in a game that's not so fun to play but has everything else than a game that's really fun to play and has nothing else.
I think that the 3D era for me did something that's really, really bad. That's more egregious than just having bad gameplay or meh gameplay. To me, it was something that was like selling itself, representing itself as Mortal Kombat, and it wasn't. And it's worse to have something that was good is kind of trying to profit off of something that was good and they changed it to something bad. That's way worse than something that was bad from the first. Because that's like a loving and losing type situation. And
I mean, I do get that. Like, the engine was clearly like knockoff Soul Calibur. It wasn't Mortal Kombat. You're absolutely right. It was like
a Mortal Kombat themed video game instead of Mortal Kombat.
Because it's like, well, what is Mortal Kombat? What to you defines Mortal Kombat? And for me, it wasn't the pressing the buttons. It was like the characters are there and the environments are there. Like, it's all kind of story and roster stuff is what makes something Mortal Kombat or not for me. And whether or not Liu Kang can do his fireball is not unimportant, but it's a secondary concern to me.
And being really real about it, sure, the gameplay is good now, but it doesn't feel like anything like classic MK to me anymore.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like, 9 felt a lot like Ultimate MK3.
Yeah.
Modernized.
That's why, I think that's really why a lot of people...
It did, really?
And
I think MKX was kind of the UMK3 version.
Well, I mean...
Well, because of the run button, yeah.
Here's the thing for me, is the presence of combos really is how I define what MK game something feels like. Like, 1 and 2... Like, there's a lot of people who say 11 feels like it's trying to be 2. I never felt it. It doesn't feel like 2 to me. I have a specific, like, picture in my mind of how 1 and 2
to me,
play.
MK9 was 2, like, just straight
and
up.
every MK game with combos is 3, regardless of whether run is there or not. Like, X is more 3 than 9, because you can run, but they're 3. Well, they're all 3.
They also... 9 also had block dashing, don't forget. So you could run in that game, however, strangely.
I mean, sort of, but it's a different thing. For me, UMK3 is like running up and just fucking mashing out your fucking things, and dudes walk like, you know, you do that shit.
It was much more aggressive, yeah.
And in MKX was the same thing. You just run up, you fucking mash out your fucking strings, and everything is really tight, everything is really fast, and your character feels really light because they control like crazy. And that was especially weird coming off Mortal Kombat 9, where things were a little slower, a little sluggish, but not in a bad way, just in kind of a heavier feeling way, which is more like Mortal Kombat 2, I would say.
9 feels fast to me.
I mean, it's not slow. It's not. I'm not saying it's slow. I'm just saying it's slower than MKX, which
yeah, but
I don't think is a hot take.
No,
the characters felt like they had more.
I mean, it is objectively slower than X. Obviously, X is the fastest one.
It is, yes.
But there was something about 9. It was more fun to play than... Like, obviously we all complain about the 50-50s in X. Like, X is kind of brain dead. And we're all, you know, we've just spent 2 hours talking about how we're bored by 11 and it's not fun to play. 9 was the best it was.
You won't get the argument out of me. I agree with 9.
And... I mean, the presence of combos, also the entire trilogy roster being there. Obviously, I'm going to compare it to trilogy. But yeah, like, it's like if you measure the overall amount of fun that you have had playing a game, I played the 3D era games for years and years, and despite their flaws, wholeheartedly enjoyed them. And when I play X and 11 and the story mode of 9, there is a depression in my heart that I cannot deny that wasn't there in the 3D era.
I don't feel depression when I play X. Just...
I don't play X.
9's story and a lot of 11. Most of 11's economy.
There's a...
When I'm playing 11... I try to just focus on the fighting as much as I can.
Or, 7 Scorpion infiltrating the Shiraryu shit, or the Lin Kuei shit. That shit was tight.
Obviously this is different person to person, because if your preference is the PvP experience, of course you didn't like the 3D era. I prefer single-player games. Like, I'm obviously weird to be playing fighting games for the single-player experience.
I didn't do any PvP in those 3D era games. I didn't do anything like that.
Right.
I just liked the gameplay of the old
sucked. Game. That's the point. Like, the 3D era games are single-player fighting games, and that's why they're weird and not great to a lot of people, honestly. It's mostly that. It's weird for a fighting game to prioritize single player and have a PvP that feels bad.
I just don't know why they switched. Like, for me, that was the fucking thing, like the trade-off. Like, why would you dump that shit that was really cool?
There's actually a really clear reason why the switch. And it's because
3D?
It's because of when it came out. Deadly Alliance was the first Midway game that did not have an arcade release. It was made for home consoles. And at the time, online gaming was still in its infancy. So they weren't Deadly Alliance did not have an online mode. So when you're designing a game for home consoles in an age where most home gaming is one player, you're going to design a one-player game if you want it to, like, succeed.
I don't think the fighting in that game has anything to do with that, though. I think the fighting.
If you're asking
Mortal Kombats too,
if you're asking why did they make the engine so Soul Calibur-y? If that's your question, it's because another feature of the late 90s and early aughts was for a brief time, people believed that 2D was a dying product of its
that's
time.
obvious. That went into everything.
Especially when it comes to fighters.
It was surprising seeing
2D fighting did not come back till Street Fighter 4.
No, it didn't. Yeah. It was surprising that fucking Symphony of the Night came out and it was 2D still. Like, everything else had just jumped the fucking wagon. It's like, oh, we have this extra dimension now. We have to do it. We have to use it in gameplay. We have to fucking try to do whatever with it. And that was kind of the thing that was also annoying, because it's like, we have to ditch what made Mortal Kombat fun to play because 3D now. No, fuck you. You didn't have to. Jumping and uppercuts and fireballs and all this shit was fun and made lots of money and was cool. And I don't think that you guys ever really got any complainers about that. So I'm not sure why that you guys are trying to be somebody else when you've done fine being Mortal Kombat this far.
They weren't the only people either.
Right. No, the entire industry was basically going, if we make a 2D fighting game in the year 1999 or 2000 or 2001 or 2002, people are not going to buy it. Yeah. They're going to buy Tekken.
Believe me, I know. Like, I mean, and that's how everything did. That's why you got the N64 Castlevania. Like, boy.
Yeah, like, so it's not a mystery why they changed the engine. And it's not a mystery why it turned out bad, because, like, NRS obviously didn't know what they were doing. They were doing something new for the first time. Like, MK4 was their first attempt at 3D, and we saw how that turned out.
It was actually a lot better. It was a lot better.
In some
Strictly
ways.
Speaking,
it was extremely similar to UMK3, which maybe, that had a lot to do with it.
I mean, I'll be honest, I find MK4 very fun to play. I do enjoy MK4. But a lot of people don't.
Strictly speaking, War Gods was their first.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
MK4 was.
But you can see, like, War Gods.
Solidifying of the process.
War Gods is only, like, tangentially similar to 4, and 4 and Deadly Alliance are nothing alike. Obviously, like, they kept starting over from scratch because they didn't know how to do a 3D fighting game. Like, they were finding it. And what they ended up doing was going, well, the most successful 3D fighting games are Tekken and Soul Calibur. Let's try to copy that. And look, if you go back to MK1, it's a copy of Street Fighter 2. That's always been what the Midway did.
Truth.
It's, yeah.
And also, like, hot take, Japanese people are better at programming video games.
They used to be. There's some trouble these days, man.
That's true. It's turning around now. But at the time, in the 90s and the early aughts, if you were an American developer, odds are you were just trying to copy the Japanese because they invented the shit, and you're not quite sure how it works. You just know it does work.
Man, the whole industry did jump on 3D because, quote, you had to. But, that really fucking pissed me off, though. Like, obviously, Tekken and Soul Calibur works better because those games were built from the ground up to be 3D fighting games. And because of that, it worked. It's really great. They didn't ditch anything that was successful because of it. And Street Fighter at least did it right to where whenever they did their 3D fighting games, they were like side games. They're called something else. They weren't like a numbered regular entry into the series, which is what Mortal Kombat should have done, in my opinion, but they didn't.
Well, I mean, Deadly Alliance doesn't have a number on it, technically.
No, but it's one of the entries, and it was 5. Like, it's a thing. There was a V on that fucking page.
Yeah, that's true.
And the giant metal thing behind the main font was a 5.
Yeah, you're right. It's the other thing, though, is that, like, sometimes when you switch from numbers to subtitles, people don't even care and they still call it by the number because, like, that's how keeping track works. And look, we call 2011 MK9, which implies versus DC was MK8, even though it's a non-canon game.
The only game that gets away with having an 8 in the title is a Mega Man game. That's it. At this point, it doesn't fucking matter. It's Mega Man. They could do Mega Man 23 for all anyone cares.
Well, I'm still a bit annoyed that the X doesn't mean 10 in Mega Man.
It doesn't mean 10. And the V doesn't mean fucking 5. Yeah, I gotcha. I see you.
Well, no, my point is, like, Mega Man X is not Mega Man 10, but it should be.
But it's not.
Like, Mega Man X1 should actually mean Mega Man 11, but it doesn't.
At least in those games, he wasn't Mega Man. Like, he was just called X all the time. That was his name.
Like, that's the whole reason.
Yeah, I get it. I just feel like the way the story of the Mega Man games works, where X is in the future of the... Like, the future of the future, because Mega Man is set in the future to begin with.
20XX, in fact.
Yeah.
Of course, 20XX all day.
Like, the fact that there is a time skip from Rock to X means to me that, like, oh, our last game was Mega Man 6 or whatever, and then we're Mega Man X. I feel like that implies it was Mega Man 10 and that 7, 8, 9 were a gap. But they didn't do that. Like, they ended up making a Mega Man 10.
And that's probably why I probably would have done the same thing, though.
I would have...
I don't know, it just kind of feels the same because of all the new mechanics, the brand new character, the whole new villains, the whole new everything setting.
I would have treated it as a gap to fill in. Like, 7, 8, and 9 would have been the stuff that happens between Rock's era and X's era, if I were doing it.
Yeah.
Because I like stories.
We're going to get the story of how the original Mega Man ended and X was created just about the same time as we're going to get the Castlevania that tells us how Dracula was beaten in the year 1999. Ergo, we're not.
No, it's never going to happen.
Well, I mean, he got his ass kicked by Julius.
Because, like, honestly,
that.
like...
Come on, man.
Like, this is wishful thinking from someone who wishes Mega Man had a story. The reality is Mega Man is basically just like Mario.
At some point, Wily makes Zero, and we get to, like, switch tracks and go on to the X stuff.
I mean, to me, the
What am I
Proto Men are
fighting
essentially
for?
canon.
Sorry.
Why?
I mean, regarding Mega Man, the 2 albums by the Proto Men are essentially canon to me.
They're good.
I feel like...
I like Proto Man.
They're great.
I mean, I like the Proto Men, but it's also like... It's a bad end AU. Like, I think...
My canon Mega Man is Mega Man...
I think that game that the first album, because the second album was a prequel. The first album, I'm pretty sure, ends with, like, eradication of humanity.
Oh, no, it totally does. It totally does. Mega Man just quits believing in humanity, and then Dr. Wily orders all of his robots to slaughter the whole audience of people in that final scene.
Yeah.
This sounds like something I don't want to visit ever.
Well,
actually.
I mean, it's a downer, the plot of the album, but it's a really good album.
It's a great album.
Like
they're both great albums.
The lead singer of the Proto Men is like the reincarnation of Freddie Mercury. Like, his voice is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm. Are there any questions we want to answer anymore?
I think we're done for the night. It's been 2.5 hours.
I was going to play some Killer Instinct, but I have to go to bed now. Thanks, questions.
Look, I'm just gonna put this out there. You guys wanted to do an episode. I can take it or leave it.
I have no regrets. Honestly, I'm the one who started nudging us towards this in the first place because people were asking me. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We had stuff to cover, and we've done.
Here's So my thinking is, like, I want to give our listeners content, obviously. I super appreciate anyone who gives a shit about our dumb little channel. But the content I want to give them is the Lost.
We've already recorded half the Baraka episode. The next half should be this week. We've got nothing but time now.
Right.
Time and isolation. As for the next Nethercast, I'm imagining maybe, hopefully, at some point after the next 10 days.
Yeah, we will definitely, like, once Scorpion's Revenge drops, we will definitely do a review episode.
Sounds good to me. Maybe we can do a group watch. How's that sound?
We can probably arrange that, yeah.
All right.
Kinky.
Well, it's been, it is kinky.
Yeah.
Just ask Quan Chi and his leather straps. All right. It's been a real pleasure. Been real fun. And hopefully see you soon. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe out there, people. It's crazy.
Wear your ninja mask.
For real.
Don't go outside.
If you have to, take out that ninja mask, because I know you've got one. Now is your time.
Yeah, you can wear it in public and not be weird. Do it.
Yeah, the government's like, listen, people, please dress up as ninjas. It's for the best.
Do it while it lasts.
Bonus points if while you're walking you emulate 2D MK stances.
Yes, just walk sideways with one arm pose.
Where only your legs are moving, the rest of your body is just static.
Or be MK2 Raiden with, like, one fist cocked at your side and, like, the other hand up right before you, swaying slowly back and forth at the waist.
Yes, always hold your palm forward like you're telling everybody in front of you to stop.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night.
Later, nerds.
Oh, what?
You're still trying to win?